Started out alive, man, that was the play. Streaming every night, building up the sway. But as the sight faded, I had to find my way. Now I'm hopping platforms, surfing through the fray. Got my crew behind me, yeah, we call them givers. Chillin' IRL, catching all the rivers. Farkle in the chat, bringing lost to the grind. Talking crypto games while we sippin' Jack Fine. Gives a minute, yeah, we take our time. Living in the moment, the life's a subtle wine. From the land down under, streaming through the night. New Zealand vibes, surfing waves day to night. Always looking for the next thrill, that's where I ignite. Community so solid, always shining bright. Rolling, rolling deep and cruising for the height. From the struggle to the stream, it's all just a game. But with the giver found, we're making our name. Tracking crypto profits, life just gets sweeter. Every view and every stream, making life a keeper. Give us a minute, yeah, we take our time. Living in the moment, life's a subtle wine. From the land down under, streaming through the night. Got my heart on my sleeve, everything feels right. So here's to the journey, no regrets in sight. Each laugh and each tear, it's a beautiful fight. Keep the wave rolling, let the good vibes flow. We're the givers, together in the show. Gives a minute, yeah, we take our time. Living in the moment, the life's a subtle wine. From the land down under, streaming through the night. Got my heart on my sleeve, everything feels right. Script is how we play a game. From start to next time, chasing fame. With you behind me, changing scenes. So through the internet, living out the dream. Got my acoustic strum, curing and chill for our cracking jokes. Go stop the thrill. In the land of Kiwis, we ride the waves. Our most streams phone, no better days. Gives a minute, yeah, we take our time. Living in the moment, the life's a subtle rhyme.
Hello, the internet. It is Tuesday, the 3rd of March, 2026. Welcome back to the channel. Now, this is a little, this is sensitive, this stream. We are going to look at the issues going on right now worldwide. And I guess we've been sort of busy with our own thing for the last 2 days. This news has broke. What is today? Today's Tuesday, so I guess this broke Sunday. And if I can summarize before we get too deep into it, hey, Dale's in the house. Two-way street. Yeah, it's a two-way street. Nice one, Dale. Yeah, baby. Are they new? Wait, those are old D-Live emotes, right? The two-way street. Yeah, so this broke on Sunday. And if I can summarize, I believe what happened was Trump announced major combat operations in Iran. Israel joined in as well. Iran responded. Wait a sec, I've got a few videos here tabbed out. Excuse me, that was Operation Epic Fury. And then Iran has responded by striking countries that are associated, including the United Arab Emirates. And the reason the title of this stream is about what's happening in Dubai is because Dubai, I mean, that's been hit, right? It's been hit a few times. I mean, it's a place I've been to a whole bunch of times. Whenever we flew to Europe for tracer tours, we always pulled in Dubai. We always flew United Arab Emirates airline and would always go through Dubai. So, I mean, I know that city. I know the airport really well, and I've been into the city maybe thrice. So I guess that's what's concerning me. So we're going to look at these videos we've got lined up. We'll get into them in a little while. This is the first one we're going to look at from 2 days ago. This is Trump announcing the Operation Fury, Epic Fury. And then there's a video here about Epic Fury. And then there's a video about Iran striking back. And here is some on the grounds reporting from Dubai. And I just want to see, how gnarly it's been and what's going down. sometimes when this stuff happens, the media makes it look worse than what it is. Sometimes it makes it look less than what it is. We don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm looking into it for the first time today. Netsky's streaming right now. No worries, Netsky. It's good to see you, man. Interesting. You've been to Dubai. Yeah, a few times, man. MD Wittenhouse. Hello, MD. But before we get into that, because I'm going to dedicate the entire stream to that, but I have mentioned that I wanted to share my dreams. And whenever I do have a dream, I want to share it with you yahoos. And so in this instance, I want to share my dream from last night with you. It's, well, I guess, look, I'm not doing this so that we can dissect it. I'm just doing it because I just want you to all see how much of an idiot I am, basically. I know I know who I'm up. I know myself, but the idea of sharing myself is just that, sharing myself. And the dreams that I have deserve to be shared. Oh boy, gives a dream. Yeah, this one's a bit of a funky one. And like I said, once this rolls, there's no reason for us to dissect it. The only thing that you need to do is just go, okay, that guy's a weirdo, and then we move right along. So with that in mind, here comes the dream, one of many. This is the only one worthy of discussion from last night, and I'll be here with you in the chat enjoying this saga as it's retold. Sit back and enjoy.
All right, here comes a dream. Oh, just a silly, nothing dream, but I just wanted to document it. It's really dumb. So, in real life, I haven't eaten McDonald's since 1995. No, 96. There's a story there which it's also just a silly story, but matter of factly, I just decided to not consume McDonald's, and it's been since then. And I've been inside McDonald's. I go in McDonald's quite often to use their bathroom. At my job on the daily, I pretty much use McDonald's bathrooms, but I haven't eaten McDonald's food out of choice since 1990. I think I'd have to go and check. Anyone can check. Actually, we could do it on the stream. Check when Morphine played at the Metro Theatre in Sydney. I think it was 1996. Yeah, I think it's anyway, so since then. And in this dream, I'm with Rob Baggerman, who's my school friend who he just caught up with me. He came to the reunion and we went surfing the next day. You might have seen the surfing clip. So it's me and Rob Baggerman. And we're walking up this street and he needs to get food. And he says, oh, here's a Macca's. Let's go into Macca's. And I'm like, I'll come in, but I won't eat. I'll just come in and, I explained to him that I don't eat there. And he's like, oh, okay. And so we go in, at the counter where he's ordering, there's a really, really attractive woman, super cute. And I'm like, okay, maybe I'll just get something, just so I can talk to her. Oh, that's right. Fuck, this is weird. There was a dude sitting. This is weird. There was a guy sitting at the counter. It's like a diner. He was eating food. I know that you order food at the till. Actually, it's all changed now, isn't it? They have those. What are they even called? You just order with your phone in the center of the McDonald's, then you go and pick the food up, right? But back in the day when I used to eat there, back in the 90s, you had to go up to the counter and order from someone. But in this dream, people were sitting at the counter eating food, and insignificantly there was a kid there, or a young man, like 13, 14, 15 years old, and he was eating, what was the number? 12? Yeah, 12 eggs. 12. He ate 12 eggs. Like scrambled eggs. It's like, yeah, I'm really hungry. I don't know, that just came up in the dream. I don't know if there's a significant number of 12 there. So he's sitting there eating 12 eggs, and I'm laughing at him going, that's a lot of eggs, dude. It's like, yeah, I really dig these Macca's scrambled eggs. Okay, fair enough. So this really hot girl is serving Rob, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna just pretend I'm gonna order something so I can talk to her. And as she's serving me, I'm like, I realize I haven't got my phone. So we've been swimming or something, and I'd left my phone at the water hole or something. And so I was like, Rob, I haven't got my phone, man. I feel super embarrassed. I can't order food. I can't order anything if I haven't got money to pay for it. And then I remember I had a bag of coins, like small, like change that I'd been, I don't know, I've been collecting. I don't know, I just had a bag, like a sports bag, and it had coins in the bottom of it. And so I was like, oh, don't worry, I can still order if I just dig out enough money. And it was $3.90 for a chicken burger. So I ordered a chicken burger from this hot girl, and I paid her in coins. And she's like, wow, we don't see coins often. And I made some sly, like cheeky remark like, well, I don't see such a beautiful woman serving at McDonald's very often, or something like that. And she's like, oh, that's cute. And I was like, no, you're cute. And she's like, wow. And we were flirting. Oh, this is insignificant, but it's kind of hot. I could see, but it's a bit sexy. I could see through her white McDonald's like blouser, whatever the shirt thing that they wear. She had 2 pierced nipples. Now there is a song from Everclear from the 90s called the lyric goes, Esther used to be the kind of girl that you would never leave. She would do anything for my disease. I can hear them calling in the real world. Heroin Girl, that's the name of the track. And there's a lyric in that song that says, she had 2 pierced nipples and a 2 pierced nipples and a black tattoo. Something like that. I don't know why that came up, but that was the song that was playing in the McDonald's, and I noted that this girl had 2 pierced nipples. No black tattoo, but something to do with the 90s and the songs that were playing around the time, and all of it messing or melding in my mind, in my dream. So that's playing in the McDonald's, and I noticed that she had 2 pierced nipples, but I couldn't mention it. Obviously, you don't just talk like that to some stranger. So then it came down to me giving her my number, and I don't think they do this anymore at McDonald's. I don't even think they used to do it when I ate there, but you ate off plates. And so I got a marker pen, and I wrote my number on a plate, but I wrote it incorrectly. I wrote it with too many digits because I'd left my phone at the water hole where Rob and I had been swimming. I couldn't remember my phone number, and so I wrote it down, but I wrote it incorrectly. But I'd already given it to her. I went up to the counter and said, oh, that was a great chicken burger. Even though, in real, like in, I hadn't actually eaten it yet. So that's this insignificant but significant because I don't eat McDonald's. And even in the dream, I was aware that I'm not going to eat this burger. But me and Rob had gone and sat down. And then I pretended that I'd eaten it and I took this plate back, a little bit of lettuce on the plate or something. And I took it back to the counter with my number on it. And I said, oh, that was a lovely burger. Here's the plate I ate off. And I turned it around and she saw my number and she was like, ah. And then she kind of smirked at me and like, I said, that's my phone number. And she's like, yeah, I get it. And I'm like, for you to use. And she's like, I understand. I was just trying to make certain that it wasn't, I just tried to really make certain that I was trying to get her to call me. And she's like, I'll call you after I finish work. And then I walked away. And Rob and I were like high-fiving each other and then sat back down to eat this burger. And then I realized that, wait, the number was written wrong, man. I'm sure I wrote that number wrong. So I went back up to her and I said, hey, can I just get a docket, like some paper, like a docket thing, you know, the little counter that goes and the paper comes out. I was like, just give me a little bit of that paper. I just want to confirm. I think I wrote the wrong number. And she's like, wow, you're really rusty at this, aren't you? You don't even know your own phone number? I'm like, well, I do, but I feel like I forgot it. And then I explained that my phone was left at the water hole and that's why I paid in coins. And she's like, but just because your phone's not here, you can't remember your number? I'm like, look, I'm genuinely wanting to date you, but I just can't. I just want to make certain I'm giving you the correct number. And she's like, okay. Here's a pen. She pulled a pen out of like behind her hair or ear or something. Oh, that's right. It came from behind her McDonald's like sun visor hat. Do they still wear those little sun visors? And then she gave me a pen and I wrote a number down. I gave it back to her and said, I'm pretty certain that's correct. And she went, I'll call you after work. I've got to go now. And I'm like, okay, cool, bye. And then I went back and sat with Rob. And this is the part of the dream I like all of it, but this is the part of the dream I thought was really funny. I go to pick up that chicken burger and it's absolutely disgusting. It looks like a shriveled up piece of, I don't know, like it just looked like it had no form to it, the bun was just like completely shriveled and mangulated, and the chicken, like I lifted the top of the thing off and the chicken breast thing was just so awful. Like didn't even resemble anything that even closely looks like chicken. And I went to go to bite it and I just looked at Rob and went, I can't do it, dude. I haven't eaten here for that long. I'm not about to break it with this. So I just put it down, didn't eat it, and we left the restaurant. And I was like, that was a $3.90. It cost me $3.90 to give that girl my number, but I'm stoked I did. And that's how that dream ends. And I wake up, I check my phone, and there's no missed call, of course, because it's real life. Oh, so slept terribly last night because of my cut on my the skin cancer removal. I slept so horribly. Oh wow, that's the connection. The shriveled up chicken burger looks like the thing that got cut out of my clavicle. Oh, I like weird dreams like that.
Take that as you will, folks. That's the weird dream that I had this morning. I could show you the thing.
That's going to be weird.
That is going to be weird. I could show you the thing that got cut out. I showed it yesterday, but just for those who were not here, this is what got cut out of my clavicle here yesterday. Skin cancer. Take a look at, of course, the camera just cut to the rear. Wait for the camera to come back. I don't know about you sometimes, man. Laugh my fucking ass off. So I don't deny that.
At what point do we tell Brennan that the punters don't give a fuck what he says to the camera and they only care about the band? When do we tell him?
Is it too early?
Do we tell him now?
It's not too early. That's what. Why is that so bright still? That's what was cut out of my skin. Quite a sizable, shriveled up piece of chicken. And that may be where that dream came from. I'm certainly not going to eat a burger if it looks like that. Hell no. Oh man, I need to get a haircut. Actually, Claudia's coming down shortly. Maybe I'll get her to do it. So there are, I mean, look, we could dissect the dreams. I don't think there's any point, right? They're just crazy dreams. I don't know if I'm going to keep sharing them like this. I just enjoyed that. Last year, I enjoyed sharing my dreams with someone, and I don't have that anymore. And I just feel like, I mean, I record mostly everything myself. So if I can share it with you guys, I don't know. Like, actually, as I was listening to that back just then, I was kind of thinking this is a bit lame. It's kind of like something that you'd share. You know, you'd share that with someone special, but I don't know. Like, not saying you guys aren't special. Not saying that. But not that special, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm just looking to fill some voids here. It's sweet that you want to share. Well, it's in my nature to share and to not hold anything back or not keep things from you. But I don't know, like what's the outcome here? You're going to hear this stuff over and over again, just weird, strange, structured dreams loosely tied to something and maybe not. And then isn't IRL streams all about that? Yeah, the IRL stuff is more for that, for sure. In fact, I'm not sure if Claudia is coming down. I want to go out and do an IRL stream Friday night because I think it's going to be important for me. It's going to be important for me to do another IRL stream and not have like what happened on Saturday, right? I'm not going to go into that again, but I know for myself that I need to go back out there and stream and drink and not be angry, not do the anger crap, and not do the reflection like this.
Don't do that again.
Don't do that again. Exactly. Good timing, Dale. Yeah, exactly. And I know I've got it, but I just need to do it straight away. It's kind of like when I went surfing the next day after whatever happened years ago with the incident, right? I went straight back there and surfed the very next day because if I had have delayed, kept delaying, I would be like, oh, I don't really want to go out there if he might be out there. Just go straight back out. Don't get so drunk. No, that's the point, Jude. And by the way, I wasn't that drunk. I was drunk, but I wasn't drunk. And my point is, I want to be able to get drunk with you guys and not do that. I can control myself. Now, you might say, well, clearly you can't. Have a look at that stream. You let it get to you. But then the thing that got to me is something I'm living with daily, whether it be drinking or sober. So I can deal with it when I'm sober. So why can't I deal with it when I'm drinking? I don't want to forego good times. It's kind of the same as going to sleep, right? Like I used to have a real problem sleeping because I'd start ruminating and my mind would be tripping up and I'd be going over scenarios. But nowadays, pretty much since mid-January, definitely after the second day of January and then further into January, I just changed. I just said to myself, I'm not doing that. I'm not going down those paths, especially when I should be getting rest. And it was a combination of I've been to two different people, but the first person and both people have said the same thing, but in different ways. They both said that if you find yourself into a state of rumination, the only way out of it is to say to yourself, it's okay to think this, but just not now. Because right now it's time for rest and I need to be restful. I need to get good sleep and then I can deal with this in the morning, or I can deal with this tomorrow afternoon, or I can deal with this the day after, or whatever it is. And the second one said, that's great, but also keep a journal. And so when you start ruminating, you just get up and you write the thing down and you say, okay, I've written it down, close it up. I'm going to deal with that tomorrow because right now it's time for rest. So you know that you're going to deal with it or you're going to think on it again, but you're just shelving it. And that's been really helpful. So with this concept of going back out onto an IRL stream and drinking and having a good time, I need to shelve it in the sense that I need to get out and do it and then know that I've done it. So that's what I'm thinking. But the only trouble is I think Claudia's coming down this weekend. Timing is very important, yeah. I recommend a physical outlet such as boxing or football. I mean, something like that might help me, to be honest. I mean, I've got surfing, which is fairly physical, although I'm out of the water now for, I guess I'm out of the water for a week. Thankfully, it's absolutely rubbish out there right now and yesterday, but I'm going to be out of the water for at least a week with this, I guess. It's weeping there. Situational awareness. I've been married 22 years. I'll explain to you about men and how they deal with irritation and frustration. Okay. Surfing is more of a Zen thing, more of a peaceful mind thing. Keep your peace. Yeah. It's definitely helped me though. Like there's no denying that the physical outlet of surfing has, look how dirty they are. The physical outlet of surfing and like the not aggression, but the exertion. Is that the word? Exertion? It's when you move quickly. Exertion, right? Like I think that's the word. Exertion. I guess no, cardiovascular. It's when you start puffing and panting and you're out of breath. This is really healthy. Not surfing where Benon lives, lots of confrontations. Not surfing where Benon lives. Not surfing where I live. Oh, it's not surfing Zen. No, dude, I know I touched on that, but on the other day on the stream, but I actually meant that in a general sense. That's just surfing in general. Not a very. Yeah, I think I said this, and I think I said it in a number of different words, but surfers can be pretty aggressive. It's more Zen for me. Right. So that's what Jude's saying. It's more Zen. It's more Zen for me, but for everybody else, it's like fight. Yeah, surfing is crazy like that. I don't understand it. I spoke to a guy out there yesterday or the day before I got this done, and I explained that to him, and I said, man, that wave that you got was great, but I don't really want to say anything about it because, surfers don't talk to each other. And he was like, oh. I was like, but that was a good wave. And he looked at me like I'm a big weirdo for even getting close to saying something, but then stopping myself by saying something about the scenario. I want to congratulate you on that wave, but I know that we're not meant to because we're surfers. It's like, that's weird, but that's the reality of it. Like dead silence. And again, that was an instance of we're just surfing the beach break and there are multiple different banks all up and down the beach, Arguably where I live, there isn't really a, well, there is. There's two on either side, street access in terms of parking a vehicle, but the main vehicle parking beach access is further up, and everyone that comes here, like that drives here to go surfboarding on the beach break, they all park up at those Mowbray and whatnot. Those are the ones, not these ones down here, Sunshine and Fernway and whatnot. And so when you go on the beach and walk, you can choose any bank you want. And it's always the case that if I'm out there, someone else will come and paddle out directly onto the bank I'm on. Now, actually, I don't really mind that because I feel safer with other people around. But it's just confusing because if you just look, you can surf the next bank. And yeah, I don't know. Pretty strange. Speaking of surfing, I'm going to run my surfing clip from the last one I surfed, which was Sunday, one day I surfed, and this is the clip from it, which you've already seen. You have to get used to this one because it's going to be a while before I can make a fresh one. I'm going to go and get myself a coffee, and then we'll come back in and we'll get into this Trump situation with Iran and the resulting, and we'll take. I guess this is going to get political because there is a lot going down here. This could be the outbreak of World War III. They're saying. I mean, gas prices in Australia have jacked up already because of it, which is very interesting. How come gas or petrol? How come the prices have gone up? Don't we have a surplus of fuel in Australia? This all broke out Anyway, we'll talk about that when we get through. We'll get through to it. This is not World War III. From surfing to bombing, Charlie don't surf, man. I'm in the USA. I know about this. This will be an interesting topic of conversation, and that's topic of conversation backwards. I'll be right back with the coffee.
Welcome to the first day of autumn, March 1, 2026, the fall. Hello, autumn.
So I just confirmed, Claudia's not coming down till Saturday, so we can go and do an IRL stream Friday night, so Thursday night, the US time. Weather permitting. Actually, I should just check that too. What is the weather doing on Freitag? What am I doing? Weather's at the front, you idiot. I've got a thing on the front. I could have just tapped it. On Friday, it's going to be cloudy, but 25. No rain. Okay, so Friday's on, folks. Friday's on. Chance of precipitation, 0%. We're going to go up to George Boyd Lookout, where we did the other IRL that didn't work. By the way, it's freezing in here. Yeah, we're going to go up to the... my neck just tweaked. You know sometimes when you breathe in with your nose and your neck muscle just tweaks? Well, that just tweaked the crap out of that. Yeah, so George Boyd Lookout are going to hit that for an IRL stream. And hopefully it'll be nice up there for a vista of the South Coast. You can look all the way down towards... I was going to say... I won't even say... What am I going to say? I'm going to say Penguin Head. That's not... What am I saying? What am I thinking of? What's the big mountain down here? Pigeon House. Pigeon House. I want to say Penguin. So, in terms of this situation, Dale, you said this is not World War III. Is that what we're going to learn here? Because I believe the first link that we've got, this one here, is from yourself. This is from a few days ago. President Trump announces a major combat operation in Iran. So this is going to confirm that this is not World War III, because you seem pretty adamant about that. Or you're not adamant, but you just mentioned it. And we are experiencing high fuel prices right now. Is that just coincidence then? And by the way, I'm empty. I got to go and fill GoVan up. That sucks. It is not World War III. Okay, well, let's take a look at this announcement from Trump, and we'll go from there, I guess.
A short time ago, the United States military began major combat operations in Iran. Our objective is to defend the American people by eliminating imminent threats from the Iranian regime, a vicious group of very hard, terrible people. Its menacing activities directly endanger the United States, our troops, our bases overseas, and our allies throughout the world. For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder, targeting the United States, our troops, and the innocent people in many, many countries. Among the regime's very first acts was to back a violent takeover of the U.S. Embassy in Tehran, holding dozens of American hostages for 444 days. In 1983, Iran's proxies carried out the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut that killed 241 American military personnel. In 2000, they knew and were probably involved with the attack on the USS Cole. Many died.
Wait, probably? Shouldn't that have been a definite? They were probably involved. I think he took my lunch money, so we're going to beat him up.
With the attack on...
He didn't say they were confirmed, they were probably...
In 2000, they knew and were probably involved with the attack on the USS Cole. Many died. Iranian forces killed and maimed hundreds of American service members in Iraq. The regime's proxies have continued to launch countless attacks against American forces stationed in the Middle East in recent years, as well as U.S. naval and commercial vessels and international shipping lanes. It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer.
We're not going to put up with it.
Lebanon to Yemen and Syria to Iraq, the regime has armed, trained, and funded terrorist militias that have soaked the earth with blood and guts. And it was Iran's proxy, Hamas, that launched the monstrous October 7th attacks on Israel, slaughtering more than 1,000 innocent people, including 46 Americans, while taking 12 of our citizens
So this is a direct retaliation for October 7, is what it sounds like.
hostage. It was brutal, something like the world has never seen before. Iran is the world's #1 state sponsor of terror and just recently killed tens of thousands of its own citizens on the street as they protested. It has always been the policy of the United States, in particular, my administration, that this terrorist regime can never have a nuclear weapon. I'll say it again. They can never have a nuclear weapon. That is why in Operation Midnight Hammer last June, we obliterated the regime's nuclear program at Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. After that attack, we warned them never to resume their malicious pursuit of nuclear weapons, and we sought repeatedly to make a deal. We tried. They wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. Again, they wanted to do it. They didn't want to do it. They didn't know what was happening. They just wanted to practice evil. But Iran refused, just as it has for decades and decades. They've rejected every opportunity to renounce their nuclear ambitions, and we can't take it anymore. Instead, they attempted to rebuild their nuclear program and to continue developing long-range missiles that can now threaten our very good friends and allies in Europe, our troops stationed overseas, and could soon reach the American homeland. Just imagine how emboldened this regime would be if they ever had and actually were armed with nuclear weapons as a means to deliver their message. For these reasons, the United States military is undertaking a massive and ongoing operation to prevent this very wicked, radical dictatorship from threatening America and our core national security interests.
Now, Dale, I don't know if you're still here, but this whole speech sounds like a declaration of war to me, whether it be World War III or not. But this is war, right? He's announcing we are going to war against Iran. Trump is fed up with the lies and the threats from Iran, so now it's being dealt with self-defense. But it's an act of war, right? He's announcing we are not taking any prisoners. We are going in and we are going to dismantle this. Interesting. That's the way I read it anyway.
We are going to destroy their missiles and raise their missile industry to the ground. It will be totally, again, obliterated. We're going to annihilate their Navy. We're going to ensure that the region's terrorist proxies can no longer destabilize the region or the world and attack our forces and no longer use their IEDs or roadside bombs, as they are sometimes called, to so gravely wound and kill thousands and thousands of people, including many Americans.
He's actually got quite good at public speaking, hasn't he? I mean, he's delivering this pretty on point. Jude, he's saying we're coming to burn your butts for not being willing to negotiate. That's definitely what he's saying, yeah. War can only be declared by Congress-specific wording. Is that it, though? Is this the Congress-specific wording? I mean, he's basically said we're going to annihilate your military. We're going to raze it all to the ground. I mean, that's destruction. He's literally saying we're going to destroy all of your infantry, all of your military, all of the weapons that you've piled. We're going to destroy everything. Without using the specific wording, he's basically saying you're screwed, right? Under the War Powers Act.
And we will ensure that Iran does not obtain a nuclear weapon. It's a very simple message. They will never have a nuclear weapon. This regime will soon learn that no one should challenge the strength and might of the United States Armed Forces.
He can do whatever he wants. He can do whatever he deems prudent. I love that word, prudent. For about 90 days. So without having to have Congress, he can just choose to do what he wants, which is what he's doing, right? He's acting on this, and he doesn't need to have a Congress. He doesn't need to have the congressional approval. he can do what he wants for 90 days. Is what it sounds like. Okay, we're learning.
I built and rebuilt our military in my first administration, and there is no military on earth even close to its power, strength, or sophistication. My administration has taken every possible step to minimize the risk.
Yeah, then he has to get congressional approval. Okay, that makes sense. Right.
U.S. personnel in the region. Even so, and I do not make this statement lightly, the Iranian regime seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran. We ask God to protect all of our heroes in harm's way, and we trust that, with his help, the men and women of the armed forces will prevail. We have the greatest in the world, and they will prevail. To the members of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, the armed forces, and all of the police, I say tonight that you must lay down your weapons and have complete immunity, or, in the alternative, face certain death.
Wow, that's harsh. So immunity actually means surrender, right? What he just said then. You must lay down and surrender, otherwise you're going to die. Dowski, even Obama, Bush, and Biden used military strikes without declaring war. Clinton also. I don't ever remember it being this aggressively worded, though. This sounds like, I'm trying not to swear as much after Saturday, but this sounds like do not fuck with the states because we will kill you all. That's what that bit sounded like anyway.
I say tonight that you must lay down your weapons and have complete immunity, or
lay down your weapons and have complete immunity. Shouldn't that have been lay down your weapons and then receive complete immunity? Lay down your weapons and surrender and you'll get immunity. Kind of didn't come out the right way. Trump is fed up. I agree with him. So I want to find out how this gets received by Iran. They just did the same thing, really didn't get covered like this. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you're right.
That you must lay down your weapons and have complete immunity, or, in the alternative, face certain death. So, lay down your arms, you will be treated fairly with total immunity, or you will face certain death.
Wow.
Finally,
he repeated that twice. That's very threatening.
The great, proud people of Iran, I say tonight that the hour of your freedom is at hand. Stay sheltered. Don't leave your home. It's very dangerous outside. Bombs will be dropping everywhere.
Wow.
When we are finished, take over your government. It will be yours to take. This will be probably your only chance for generations.
Iranian Americans love this. They want this. Yeah, wow. I mean, we have an Iranian in in our extended family. I wonder what her take on this is. She's an Australian Iranian, but...
For many years, you have asked for America's help, but you never got it. No president was willing to do what I am willing to do tonight. Now you have a president who is giving you what you want. So let's see how you respond. America is backing you with overwhelming strength and devastating force. Now is the time to seize control of your destiny and to unleash the prosperous and glorious future that is close within your reach. This is the moment for action. Do not let it pass. May God bless the brave men and women of America's armed forces. May God bless the United States of America. May God bless you all. Thank you.
Except for the Iranians. Except for the Iranian military. The religious nutcases in Iran slaughtered over 30,000 innocent protesters recently. 30,000. Whoa, that's a lot, dude. Jude, I think they came out with an updated number of 38K. So 38,000. So that was the announcement from Saturday, I guess. Now here is a detailed look at the actual operation. This is from Channel 7 News Australia. A special bulletin covering the latest updates on the unfolding conflict in Iran and the Middle East after the United States and Israel, so they joined in as well, attacked on Saturday under Operation Epic Fury, targeting the nation's top leaders, calling for the overthrow of the government. Okay, let's take a look.
Good evening and welcome to a 7 News special inside Operation Epic Fury. It has been an extraordinary 24 hours, so let's get you caught up on exactly what has happened. There's been a lot. The US and Israel launching a coordinated strike on Iran.
How's that background music? Sounds like something from Star Trek.
What has happened? There's been a lot. The US and Israel launching a coordinated strike on Iran, systematically taking out the country's regime.
I'm sorry, I just can't get past that music in the background. It's already gnarly enough without having this soundtrack underneath it. What's with that? Like, in 48 hours, we achieved aerial supremacy over Iran. That's huge. I'm interested to see. Yeah, okay. I'll just ignore that music, but.
Coordinated strike on Iran, systematically taking out the country's regime and sparking retaliation attacks across the Middle East. Now, here's the situation as we know it right now. Iran is reeling. More than 900 strikes flanking key sites across that nation. Included in those targets, the compound of the Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and confirmation from the country's state news today that he is dead. Also,
so hang on, who's he? The Ayatollah? He's the leader, the elected leader, or he's just the leader who took leadership by force and he died? So they've already got the biggest target, I guess. That's their Trump, right?
The compound of the Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei.
Supreme leader. Self-appointed, no doubt.
The compound of the Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei.
Well, that's pretty. I mean, look, I don't want to encourage war and shit, but if they've achieved that immediately, they're already off to the, like, that's a good damn start, right? America, we got him. We got him. What was that phrase when they found a Saddam Hussein? America, we got him. Same kind of thing.
The compound of the Supreme Leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, and confirmation from the country's state news today that he is dead. Also taken out more than 40 Iranian leaders, including the defence minister, the chief of the army, and the head of the Republican Guard. But the terrorist regime hit back. Strikes across 6 countries: Jordan, Qatar, the UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain, and Israel.
Okay, so Iran strike back to countries that are linked to. So they didn't strike back against America, but they struck back against their neighbors, including the United Arab Emirates, which is where Dubai is, Qatar, Bahrain, Kuwait, and Jordan. We're going to utterly destroy their navy, ballistic missiles, and nuclear bomb program, eliminate the threat. Yeah, well, that's what Trump said very clearly. But why did Iran not strike back against the states? I mean, that might be a dumb question because, like, given the warning that Trump gave, you wouldn't want to retaliate directly back. But, like, aren't they going to go for the gang leader, or are they going to just approach, the minions, kind of, so to speak? Because they can't. Didn't he say that they already had weapons like long-range missiles that could potentially reach Europe? Iran attacked Dubai and Saudi Arabia. Exactly, yeah, that's what we're seeing there. But so they didn't. So they attacked other countries, but not the states. Iran has tried to assassinate Trump twice. They're attacking our allies. Yeah, they're attacking anyone that's on board, right? Yeah. But does that mean that we should be worried about terrorist attacks though? Because if they're using their whatever military they've got left to attack all these surrounding allied countries and regions, does that mean that they'll also have like those Islamic nutters that go and blow up buildings and shit as well? Terrorism is always a threat. I mean, that's always a threat, but right now you would say it's on high alert, right? For sure, everywhere, including Australia, I imagine, because we do whatever you dudes say. Australia bows down and bends over for America. I don't know, like, should we also be worried?
A US base and Dubai airport among those targets.
Hey, Woz, how you doing, man? How you doing, Woz? Nuts, another war, yeah, man. Biden allowed hundreds of terrorists into the US with his open border insanity. Right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, they could already be there. Yeah. Very, very frightening, right? Hezbollah has gotten involved already. An Aussie base was attacked now too. What's that was? An Australian base has been attacked? Like a naval base or something? Oh, okay.
Chaos to international aviation. Flights around the world cancelled, even turned back mid-air. We have our team of correspondents bringing us the very latest from right around the globe. And coming up, we'll have analysis from our panel of experts looking at the very big question, exactly what happens now.
Oh, Aussies based in the Middle East. Right. Sorry, not an Australian base. Okay, I get you. Okay, cool.
Let's go straight to the region, though. Our chief reporter, Chris Reesam, is in Tel Aviv as the missile started flying. And now, Chris, developing just now, we're learning in the last few minutes more reports of fresh strikes against Tehran. Chris.
Yeah, and this time the IDF, Air Force, Israeli Air Force, is claiming those strikes, Michael. We've seen pictures this morning, moved in the last hour, thick black smoke rising from the skyline of Tehran, the capital of Iran. The IDF issuing a statement saying that, yes, it was them. They have sent their Air Force in to target particular areas they call under possession and control of the terrorist regime of Iran. So Israelis now trying to trumpet the fact that they're making those strikes. But simultaneously, interestingly, we're also getting information put out by state news agencies from within Iran that they have also continued their attacks, this time choosing US bases deep inside Iraq, in the Kurdish region of Iraq. Now, they're obviously desperately still trying to lash out, if you like. They're still managing to distribute ballistic missile barrages across this region. We know 7 countries now have been targeted in all of this. All the previous alliances and arrangements that Iran has had and settlements with its regional partners seem to have completely gone, as Iran is throwing everything it has and everything it can at whatever it can reach. And so we have seen countries like Iraq, Kuwait, the UAE, Qatar, all been targeted in this series of extraordinary lashing of weaponry that Iran is still able to throw at.
So Iran is just targeting anything willy-nilly, whereas the states and allies are targeting the military bases. Dalsky, US doesn't want to conquer Iran. We want to free Iran. Think Germany and Japan post WW2. So, okay, but is that fair to say that it looks like Iran is just sending shit anywhere and hoping it sticks, whereas the states has gone, we're going to hit this, we're going to hit that. We don't want to hit civilians. We want to hit the military. We want to hit their nuclear weapons manufacturing, and we want to annihilate that only. Interesting.
Whatever targets it sees fit. Now, interestingly, right now, as we clearly
they're flailing.
Would understand, there is a power vacuum inside Iran, and we are hearing that they are rushing quickly to try and fill that vacuum. The head of the security service there has called a standby meeting of the Leadership Council, and they will move quickly to try and replace the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Now,
that's heavy, dude. Bombs falling. Look at that. That's hectic. That's just like, you don't want to be anywhere near where that's landing. That's in Doha.
Council, and they will move quickly to try and replace the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei.
Damn.
Now, the last time this happened, Michael, was 36 years ago, and it happened in a day. So experts are saying they will move quickly, and we could indeed see a replacement to Ayatollah Ali Khamenei by the end of this evening.
Wow. Hectic. Orange Man had a very strange address today while talking about US soldiers who passed away during the attack. He also spoke about the wonderful gold curtains in the White House. This guy doesn't give a fuck about human life. I haven't seen that. We just watched his announcement for this epic Fury strike, but we're kind of catching up here. Iran targets civilians, the US targets military and the leadership. That's kind of what it looks like. But I mean, that's horrible, isn't it?
to put myself together.
We're used to that. We're really familiar with that.
I feel safe because I know that we have a good army, a good soldiers.
It's scary, but, you know, Israel has us protected.
Yeah, Chris, so have you seen any of those weapons that Iran fired yesterday, those drones, get anywhere near the other Gulf countries or Israel where you are now, like you saw 24 hours ago?
Okay, so in the chat, looks like Woz got that wrong. Both Dale and Jude, they're both Americans. I wouldn't want to be in Dubai right now. I wouldn't want to be in any of those neighboring countries right now, personally.
Yeah, look, we're seeing evidence of that all over the region, Michael. And in fact, as you point out there, I mean, just behind me, directly off our balcony here, last night, an extraordinary picture as one of the Iranian ballistic missiles managed to breach through the air defence systems that protect this country, widely known and acknowledged as the best in the world. But it does make mistakes. There are, it's not infallible. We know that last year in the 12-day war, some 15% of ballistic missiles still managed to get in through the protective shields around Tel Aviv, Israel. As I say, we saw one last night, but this is happening across the region, and we're seeing these extraordinary pictures of civilian targets, not US bases, not military facilities, but targets that Iran has decided it will just throw its remaining weaponry at, and rattling the region. It has instantly stopped civil aviation in this area, having worldwide ramifications for...
Wait, what are they... These guys in Iran, in Kharja, they're applauding something? What are they applauding? I didn't get that. Was said, I meant an airbase used by Australians over there was attacked. Okay. Dalesky, everyone can think what they want to Trump, and our allies will fix this problem, whether some like it or not. I mean, it's early. It's only 3 days into this, right? So... President Trump talked to every country surrounding Iran prior to this. Okay. So those are the countries to the west. What? I don't even globally know. What's the country to the east of Iran? We've seen the countries a lot like out there on the western sort of border or western side. What's to the east of Iran, and what have they been attacked as well? Isn't Russia to the east and to the north? It's pretty evident what's happening. It's another war starting over oil. Right. Pakistan and Afghanistan are east of Iran. And are they getting attacked? Interesting. The Iranians want freedom. Yo, MD Witt's back. How you doing, MD?
Travel for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of travellers, and it has rattled the Middle East, particularly the Gulf countries who are now furious. We're hearing the Saudis are furious with what's happened from Iran in these last 24 hours of the fight back. The UAE will be the same. It has the potential here to decimate their tourism industry. We saw rockets and missiles around the Burj Khalifa, the world's tallest tower. We saw some of their upmarket luxury 6-star hotels attacked, taking damage. The airport as well, Dubai, the biggest in the world, also sustaining damage. These images and that fear will ripple around the world and affect tourism, affect business, and increase anger within the Gulf region.
A huge knock-on effect. Chris, stand by. We'll come back to you because obviously there's still a lot.
Claiming Trump doesn't care about human life is absurd. Jude said we have so much oil in the US, we export our oil. So it's not about oil then. Jude, it's not about oil? Spark. Hey, Spark. Depends who gets in charge of the country next. Could be an even worse leader. But if the US has so much excess oil, they're exporting it. This isn't about oil then. This is about demilitarizing or denuclearizing Iran. Have Iran ever claimed to have nukes though? But they have a program to develop nukes, I guess.
Developing as we're on air. Now, the attack is aimed at ending 47 years of tyrannical
Not from your view?
repression in Iran. The architect of the military operation is Donald Trump. The world had been watching and waiting for America to make its move, and last night Trump hit go on what is the biggest gamble of his presidency so far. This is a bit of what he had to say.
Yeah, this is an insane speech. I thought that was incredible. So Jude says it's not about oil from her point. Dale, about stopping Iran from nuclear weapons and ballistic missiles. Exactly. That's clearly what Trump said, right? That's clearly what he said. Check out the latest video where I talk about the pretty curtains when the US troops were killed. Yeah, I mean, look, Trump's a little all over the shop when he's delivering, speeches. Let's be real. This one, I mean, we're 3 days behind here, so we might get up to that, but we're 3 days behind. But if they're going to play clips from this, what we watched earlier, it's pretty hectic, hey. The press corp asked him all sorts of questions in his press conferences. Well, he was answering questions, was he? Not all are on point. So he wasn't just drifting on his conversation. He was responding. That kind of makes sense if that's what happened.
For 47 years, the Iranian regime has chanted death to America and waged an unending campaign of bloodshed and mass murder. It's been mass terror, and we're not going to put up with it any longer.
Yeah, so let's bring in our US correspondent Rob Scott now, who's in Washington, D.C. Rob, good evening from here. Now, the strike has brought a lot of praise and a lot of condemnation.
Yeah, it certainly has, Michael. Look, as with a lot of what Donald Trump does, this decision has been deeply, deeply divisive. There are a lot of Americans who feel that he made the right call when he ordered these strikes, that he'd been backed into a corner by the Iranians, especially after they appeared to be playing games around those negotiations to end their nuclear weapons program. But on the flip side of that, there have been mass protests right across this country. We saw many protests here in Washington, D.C. over the last 24 hours, people feeling that the president has betrayed them, especially after he ran on a policy, a platform of being a president for peace, of not wanting to drag America into what he called stupid wars. And they feel that he has gone against what he promised. And the Democrats here are equally unhappy, not so much with the end result, the death of the Supreme Leader, but the way in which that came about. They say that Donald Trump did not bother to come to Congress to ask for permission, to seek permission to launch these strikes, or even basically to lay out why he felt now was the right time to do that. And so they're going to try to push for a vote next week to try to limit the president's war powers.
And of course, what matters with all of this is not just what happens, but what comes next. Because yes, I don't like the Iranian regime. They chant death to America. They kill their own people nonstop. But we don't want it replaced by an even more hardline regime. We want it replaced by a more moderate pro-Western regime. And this is just a crapshoot at this point. We don't know what's going to happen next.
So that congressman makes a very good point, Michael. The aerial bombardment alone won't bring about regime change. Sure, it's going to act as a catalyst, but a lot relies on the Iranian people to rise up. And the fact is, that is such a diverse country. There is not an official or a united opposition. So what comes next is really anyone's guess.
So there's obviously conflict in my chat here. You guys are arguing about whether Trump is right here in his act. Calls himself the leader of the board of the leader of peace. He stopped 8 wars. Name another human who has done that. So regardless of how you feel, isn't it safe to say that everyone wants Iran, no one wants the Iranians to have nuclear weapons. So killing the supreme leader, getting him done in the first 24 hours or whatever, not even, like first 8 hours of this attack, it's been a good thing, right? They've got rid of that dude. And now they're targeting precise military installations. They're getting rid of all that. Isn't that what everyone wants? The Iranians want it. They've wanted the help from America forever, and now they're getting it, and they're doing it precisely, and it's happening. How can that be wrong? Is it because he didn't seek congressional support? He has a 90-day window to act whatever he wants as the president. He did that. Is that the issue, that he didn't get the support of the congressional team? He just went ahead and did it. Jude says, I don't argue with folk who aren't even in America. Yeah, but I get that point, and I know you're not addressing me. I guess you're addressing Woz, but the point of it is that this does affect everybody. Like, everybody is involved here. Even in a very, very selfish kind of way. Like, whenever anyone travels from Australia to the Northern Hemisphere, we often travel through these countries. the United Arab Emirates. We often pull in Doha, Qatar. These are all stopovers, and we spend money there. And yeah, so this does affect everybody in many different ways. That's just one example. The left will never agree with him. I mean, I guess it is all political, but it seems to me as if everybody wanted this. It affects a lot of places. I have friends who live in Dubai. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, of course, it's affecting everybody. But then again, you might argue that the Iranians wanted this as well. So Iran is being freed and America is doing the freeing. And all the countries surrounding it are in favor of it. That's the way it looks to me. And I don't have a great knowledge of it, but that's what it looks like from the outset. Yeah.
Here's the question. We're going to be talking about that in just a minute or two. Rob Scott there in Washington, D.C. Thank you. Now, Donald Trump claims motivation for this strike is protecting European allies from an Iranian nuclear threat. Europe correspondent Jacqueline Robson's live in London for us. Jackie, Britain is one of America's closest allies. However, it seemed to be a bit sidelined by all of this and left out of Operation Epic Fury. But how's it been received there?
Yeah, well, Michael, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer was quick to distance the country from these US-led strikes, saying the UK had no involvement, but did indicate tactical support, saying British planes were in the sky, helping with coordinated defensive operations. It is clear the UK is somewhat uncomfortable with these surprise strikes in the middle of diplomatic negotiations, but some of the big European leaders, France, Germany and the UK, have issued a joint statement putting the onus back on Tehran to come to the negotiating table even as missiles fly around the Middle East. France's Emmanuel Macron was a little bit stronger in his language. He said that this military escalation is dangerous for all. It must stop. And he did say France was not given the heads up. It seems Germany may have been the only country given prior warning of what was to come. But these three European countries were central in crafting the 2015 nuclear program with Tehran that was abandoned by Donald Trump in 2018. And the US president has kept his European allies at arm's length when it comes to foreign policy decisions. These European leaders don't know what is coming next, but no doubt will be welcoming this Iranian regime fall if that is to happen in coming days as this war stretches on. The UK...
So Trump didn't give the UK any heads up, but he gave Germany the heads up. Trump's the best president since Ronald Reagan. Negotiating with pathological lies is foolish. Why is there so much unrest in the USA if he's truly the best leader? I mean, that's a fair question, but I've seen that every single president that's ever been in the States. There's always conflict, always. Dale answered, because leftists are lunatics and liars. The dude doesn't understand about foreign NGOs funding protests. He also told Poland. Okay, is that because of their proximity though? Like Poland and Germany are like neighbors, and you know Britain and France and whatnot. France not so bad, but they're a little bit further away. Maybe is there any risk to England from Iran? Can they launch a long range missile and connect with England? Or can they launch a long range missile and connect with Germany? That's even closer, right? Can they do that?
Prime Minister did not confirm
Hell
whether
no.
the US had permission to use UK bases, military bases, including Diego Garcia, but this is what the Prime Minister said earlier.
The regime in Iran is utterly abhorrent. They have murdered thousands of their own people, brutally crushed dissent, and sought to destabilize the region.
The UN
so that's the UK Prime Minister saying the regime in Tehran, in Iran, is horrible, and they do all this gnarly shit to their own people. So he's obviously in favor of this Trump stuff, right? He must be in favor of it. Okay, he didn't get told about it, but now that they're being demilitarized and all their bases are being taken out, isn't he in favor of that? I mean, surely if they're that bad and someone's coming in and doing all the hard work, wouldn't you just be like, good on them? Someone's doing it. It's not us doing it. So in a sense, they're like, we're clear, we didn't do anything wrong, but we're in favour of what's going on.
Secretary General has come out warning about this military escalation, saying that international peace and security were being undermined. There has been little talk among allies about the legality of these US-led strikes. European leaders among the world waiting to see what happens next, Michael.
All right, Jacqueline, there in London, thank you for that. Back home, there have been some quite incredible scenes as Iranian-born Australian residents celebrate the end of the regime. Let's go to our national security editor, Tim Lester, live in Canberra. Tim, from the scenes there in Canberra and in Sydney, other parts of Australia seem to be genuine rejoicing.
Michael, absolutely, and quite remarkable. Think about this for the state of mind of the more than 85,000 people who are born in Iran but now live in Australia, and how they might be looking on the terror around their country at the moment and the fraught position their loved ones are in. Well, no matter, they still found room to celebrate the Ayatollah's death and the prospect that maybe, just maybe, the regime they so dearly oppose might be gone for good. Protests or signs of joy, really, in Hyde Park in Sydney as well as in Canberra, Melbourne and around Australia as they gathered to express their delight. Some cried, others showed posters or pictures of those who've been killed back in Iran, and generally, though, expressing their delight, Michael.
So, Tim, our government...
So that is pretty important to note, right? The Iranians living in Australia are in favour of this. Yeah, Dale's Iranians born Aussies rejoicing. Yeah, says it all. It does. I mean, that says a lot, right?
Back the US and Israel.
But also, there's, you can't deny that there will be a faction of people that are against it. You know, Iranians that are living in Australia that are against it. There's always both sides to the story, right?
Was cautious as he spoke today.
Yes, it was not a ringing endorsement from Prime Minister Albanese, and I think there are a few clues in that, listening to what both Jackie and Rob had to say in their earlier reports. Dissent to the mission rising in America, and some European leaders not backing it. Well, Anthony Albanese says he supports the mission of preventing nuclear weapons going to Iran and supports the plight of the Iranian people in their struggle, but otherwise quite measured, and unlike the coalition, not giving a really ringing endorsement of the mission.
Right. So Australia is like, okay, well, it's happening, but we're not going to say too much. We don't want to be involved. That's the way that reads. There's always a faction against things. So yeah, true. But I'm just saying, like, for everyone, for you and for me and for the report here saying all these Iranians are for it, you could have the same report saying, and all these ones are against it. Just, you know, to be the devil's advocate.
The days ahead are going to be difficult. They are uncertain. We are deeply concerned, and my government's priority remains the safety of Australians in the region. My government will do all we can to keep Australians safe and protect our personnel.
The coalition stands with the United States and Israel on preventing this murderous regime from acquiring nuclear weapons and advanced ballistic missile capabilities.
So that's pretty much everyone saying that they're in favour of it in one way or another. They're like that's England, that's France, France didn't say exactly that, but that was England before we had England. Obviously Germany, Poland, Australia, and all the countries surrounding, right? So Rich One, how you doing, man? Trump's the GOAT. Trump derangement syndrome is a real thing. The woke left just wants something to be upset about. They don't care about America. Right, okay, interesting.
Back here tomorrow, Michael, and we expect Anthony Albanese to convene the National Security Committee of Cabinet again in the morning to assess where the Middle East is heading.
All right. Tim Lester on a Sunday night from Canberra. Thank you for that.
It's a convenient distraction from the Department of Justice handling of the Epstein files. Interesting. Haven't they released like a whole lot of that though? You think this is a distraction technique? Wow.
Welcome back to our 7 News special inside Operation Epic Fury. Now, we want to bring in Hugh Whitfield now because this was a coordinated assault by the US and Israel that, as the very name of the operation suggests, struck with epic fury. So, Hugh, you're in the studio now. Take us through exactly how the strike unfolded.
Michael, Iran reports that 24 of the country's 31 provinces were hit in this wave of attacks carried out by Iran and the United States. Now, most of the places across the country that have been hit are military facilities, including the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps Naval Base down in Minab in the south of the country. Much of the focus, though, in Tehran, the capital, where, of course, the Ayatollah's compound was hit with his...
Do we have a number of like deaths already, like civilian deaths? Because I mean, there's always casualties, right? He was paid by the left, for fuck's sake, obsessed with the Epstein files. He's a lefty. Nope, they messed that up massively, released names of victims yet withheld abusers, the complete opposite of what is meant to happen. Yeah, I mean, to cite that this might be a distraction for that seems like a bit of a reach, though. I mean, just hearing Trump's speech from a few days ago before this broke out, or when his warning of it happening, he was saying that this has been ongoing for like 40, 50 years now. And it's time that we took action. So everyone is supporting him in that. Trump released the Epstein files. Obama and Biden has hid them. Facts. It's a big reach. I mean, he hid them. It just seems like, yeah, I don't know, like this doesn't seem related to me. 47 years? Okay, 47 years. Yeah. So it's not about the Epstein files and it's not about oil. It's about demilitarizing or at least preventing Iran from ever having access to nukes. That seems fair to me.
Death reported by Iranian state media.
I think the world is obsessed with the files, and they should be, unless you don't care about child abuse. Okay. You can care about both, though. Like, these are two, these don't mutually, like, obscure each other. Like, you can care about both.
Iran responded by targeting not just US bases in neighbouring countries, but civilian infrastructure across the region as well, including, of course, the airport at Dubai, along with hotels in the UAE as well. The US 5th Naval Fleet is based in Bahrain. There are US bases in Qatar, the UAE, Kuwait and Jordan. In the last hour or so, there are also reports that a commercial port in Amman has been hit and a US base in northern Iraq hit by Iranian fighter jets. And of course, there have been missiles launched at Israel as well. Places like Dubai don't have a civilian defence system. There is no Iron Dome. There are no shelters for people to go to. Now, Iran can also hit back economically with global implications. The Strait of Hormuz lies to the south of Iran, north of the UAE and Oman. 20% of the world's oil passes through there. Iran has the world's 4th largest proven oil reserve. Most of its exports go to China, which opens up a whole nother part of this geopolitical situation. But all of the oil pretty much coming from Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, Qatar and the UAE passes through this crucial stretch of water. And Michael, Iran has the ability to put a real chokehold on the global flow of oil that will impact Australians at the pump in the weeks to come. When the markets open in the next 24 hours, we will see a jump in the oil price.
All right, you and I are going to talk a bit more about the history and what next for Iran in a few minutes, so join me at the desk then. But for now, thank you for that, Hugh.
So just to summarise that, so the potential for strikebacks Iran has targeted US-based or US-funded bases within the territories surrounding Iran, and there's the threat of stifling at least 20% of the world's oil supply. I can just check right now. I've got the Petrol Spy app on my phone, and I want to see what the petrol price is right now. Just wait for the ad to disappear, because I need to fill up before we go on Friday. Failed to load results? No. Okay. $1.74, $1.60. So the cheapest I'm seeing per litre is about $1.60 a litre. So that's not unusual at this point. I mean, we've seen $1.80 in some, the worst of the times, but I've also seen like $1.56, $1.55. So you guys are debating Was now, Jude and Dale against Was. Topic is the Iranian situation. We've about 30 days petrol reserves in Australia. We should by law have 90. Yeah, I think probably should fill up, but I don't know. Well, yeah, it is what it is, I guess. What was I going to say? Something about, I was just going to reiterate that the Epstein files and this situation can be thought of at the same time. I don't think that they're both. I don't think that this military operation is a disguise for the Epstein files. The Epstein files have been ongoing now for some time. So I don't think that there's a tactic there. But what do I know? But I don't think that.
Closed the airspace across the Middle East, grounding flights and turning international aviation completely on its head. Making matters worse, Dubai airport was bombed in Iran's wild immediate retaliation. A lot of chaos. Here's aviation editor Blake Johnson now to break down the impact.
So now this is a place I've been many, many times. I know where the gates are. I don't know what they're going to show, but I can see. It just brings it home when you've been there, right? I've been there a bunch of times.
Dubai Airport was hit. 4 people injured. Here, passengers and staff run through the terminal. About 1,800 flights through the Middle East have been cancelled. That number grows tonight. It is a major hub. 90,000 transit passengers every day. Between them, Emirates...
It's an epic airport. If you've never been there and you ever come... If you Americans ever come down to Australia, try to get your flight to go via or take a take an Emirates flight and come through Dubai and just marvel at the airport. It's insane, right? The US isn't bombing Dubai. Iran is. No. I know that. I know. And that's just across the Persian Gulf. So that's a very close target for them. I understand that. I'm just saying if you guys ever come to Australia, you've got to come through the Middle East at some point. Most of the flights will stop there. Not always. You can go LA direct to Sydney, but if you can, I highly recommend it. It's a beautiful airport. It's like a city. It's quite literally like a city. It's insane. I love that place.
Qatar and Etihad have a small fleet of 29 aircraft stranded here in Australia. 2 in Adelaide, 3 in Perth, 6 Brisbane, 8 in Sydney and 10 in Melbourne, where the airport is running out of room to park them. Here's what the airspace above Iran looks like. Empty.
Wow.
Flights, including Qantas services to London and Paris, are diverting north, adding about...
Dude, even that's too close, really. Fuck, you want to steer way clearer than that.
30 minutes to the flight time. For now, options to get to Europe are either with airlines like Qantas or Singapore Airlines. You could also consider going through China or even the long way around via the US.
Yeah.
Tonight, Doha, Dubai and Abu Dhabi are all labelled Do Not Travel on the
Fully.
Australian Government Smart Traveller website.
Blake Johnson reporting there, and Australians who witnessed that Dubai airport strike, thankfully, they're safe, but like many, finding it difficult to believe that one of the world's busiest airports was targeted.
Yeah, we're just enjoying a nice dinner, and then all of a sudden, someone on the table near us, you could see them pointing at the sky, and we just all thought, oh, this is just a, we're all getting edgy, and then sure enough, it hit a rocket.
Within an hour, there was like 2 very loud ones right next to my building. So then I was like, all right, I got my girlfriend and we needed to get out of there.
We're supposed to be flying out to Rome tomorrow, but that's just not going to happen. It'd be nice if the Australian government actually contacted us.
I think it puts things in perspective a lot of how lucky we can be in Australia.
Good to have your company this Sunday evening.
Wow.
I'm joined now.
Pretty horrifying. Had a 2-day stopover in Dubai, lovely place, fully complimentary. The airline had a delay. We got a 1K cashback. Wow. What is concerning is that they're bombing popular hotels and airports. Well, that seems like what their tactic is. Iran is not really going after the military bases. They're just going after anything related to America. Anything that has American connections, they're just going for it. Whereas the Americans went and bombed specific, military operations. That was the approach. And I don't know if that's changed, but that's definitely the approach from the onset or from the outset.
By political scientist Simon Jackman, and live from London, Sunrise regular and security expert Will Geddes. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us this evening, Sunday night Australia time. Simon, I'll go to you first. Being reported as a huge shift in world order, I thought it was fascinating in our earlier report that the Democrats in America were a bit miffed that Donald Trump didn't ask their permission, as if he was going to ask for that. But what global implications are there here?
Hey, Charles.
Oh, well, look, I think Hugh gave a good tee-up of that. I think the one, particularly from an Australian perspective, will be what happens to the oil price over the next little while. Australia's, perhaps that's our maximum point of exposure here strategically. But I think just zooming out for a little though, on the conflict itself, and that is exactly what is the US strategy here. It is clearly now regime change, but air power alone has not been sufficient to bring about regime change pretty much anywhere in the history of modern conflict. It's always been backed in by boots on the ground. Now, that will be a bridge too far, certainly for Donald Trump, given his MAGA base and his commitments to them. So exactly, I think, of the question the world is asking, what does the off-ramp for Donald Trump here look like? What does, if not capital R, capital C regime change look like? What does small r, small c regime change look like? And how does he define that? When do we get there? And how does we off-ramp that and settle down that critical through point for not just world oil, but for world commerce?
Will, is it a guarantee, as Donald Trump hopes, that there will be a revolution, that people will march to the streets, take power, and it'll be a movement of people power? What do you think?
I think that is actually quite optimistic. I think I couldn't agree more with what your other guest was saying. One of the biggest problems that is going to be facing Iran right now is the IRGC pretty much control everything, and they would even decide who the next successor of Khomeini will be. And the question right now is, will it be passed to another cleric, or will it be more militarized in terms of the control of the country by the IRGC? Now, we're hearing various reports about the top leadership being removed, but that doesn't mean that necessarily they've been disabled. You know, the IRGC is a little bit like a hydra, and you can cut off as many heads as you like, but there are still going to be those that sway and have power domestically. So although many Iranians will be taking to the streets protesting, they will try and regain control as much as possible, because the IRGC also have a lot of influence and control in the economy of Iran as well.
That looked like a
also have a lot of influence and control.
That just looks like a hotel. Like that just looks like a hotel complex, right? Jude, the Iranians don't care about any of the people that aren't supporting their regime. So they'll just top them. They'll just shoot them. Amazing, the accuracy of the weapons. They're pure evil. That looks like a hotel, right?
Control in the economy of Iran as well.
Yeah, Simon, to Will's point, a country of 90 million people, a fair amount of diversity as well, as he's mentioning, a huge militarised base that can step in and take power, and a whole lot of ambitious clerics wanting to fill the void of the Ayatollah that's been taken out. There's no guarantee here that there's a free-speaking individual who might step forward in a democratic process and take charge of the country.
Oh, none whatsoever. And indeed, you'd be betting against it. To be perfectly blunt about it, it's been 47 years that this arrangement, the IRDC and the Ayatollahs have governed Iran in the way that the cultural and social roots of that system of government are deep, and there is no plan B. If you've made your bed in the Revolutionary Guard, there's no bright future for you in a future democratic Iran. It's just not happening. And so those people have made their bed. There are hundreds of thousands of them. There's no easy plan B for them in a future sunny democratic Iran. And so the idea that they're going to go quietly into the sunset, perhaps a good analogy might be Iraq, where de-Baathification was an insanely costly exercise in the United States. It required boots on the ground. It required
So he's talking about someone who will fill this dude's shoes, right? He's talking about who will take that spot.
And as even today, the best you could say, it's an extremely...
Yeah, right. Hopefully they don't replace one asshole leader with another, which could well happen, right?
outcome there. So I think we've got to be really tap the brakes about this perhaps being, we're turning the page on a new democratic Iran. I think that is just not what's in the cards, and hence back to the question, what does Trump define now as regime change and sufficient to turn off the war machinery?
So will we then presume that there's enough intelligence to point out to Israel and America about who the next in line may be, the next few people in line may be, and that there's intelligence enough about their locations that there will have to be further strikes to take out option, B, C and D here?
Yes, I mean, although I agree with Simon, I think a boots on the ground in any kind of visible sense is going to be very difficult. But I think clandestine forces from both Israel and the United States will...
Charlie says they tried, but he did not live to see the day. They've already tried to install the next guy. Who was that? I didn't hear. We haven't heard that yet.
Have to get on the ground to undertake closer operations where airstrikes aren't possible. And the one thing that we know about Iran right now and how they're able to deploy as many missiles from their somewhat depleted resource from June of last year during the 12-day war, they will be moving their key figures around like the most erratic game of chess, if you like, to ensure that they're not going to be targeted. And that's particularly the reason how...
Next arsehole won't have a Navy, Air Force, nor a nuke program. Well, yeah, that by the look of it, they won't have that. But who was that next a-hole? Defang the beast? Right. Defang.
Khomeini allegedly was brought together, obviously, into a singular location by manipulation by Mossad troops and operators to actually get them into the striking position for the US and Israel to then obviously strike against them. So I think this will turn very, very likely into a much more clandestine special forces type of operation to try and remove some of those key figures within the IRGC. But we're not going to see any mass military going on the ground. I think that would be disastrous potentially.
Brief question to each of you. It would seem fanciful that the exiled prince, I think, is living in Germany or appeared in Germany. There's going to be no chance of him really, or if he can return, but certainly not assuming any power that was remembered from 47 years ago, surely.
No, and I don't think any time soon. I don't think it'd just be a profoundly unwise move to be thinking that the time is ripe to bring in the presumptive leader of a transition to democratic Iran. The facts on the ground are just not inimical to that outcome.
Yeah, and we'll very briefly, obviously,
I completely agree with that.
And we'll very briefly, I mean, obviously the Gulf regions are smarting, aren't they? Dubai certainly never expected to be, drone attacked in any capacity. You would imagine now that there's going to be a fair shift of all of those neighbours going, hang on, where do we sit here and what next?
Huge wild card, Michael.
Well, I think all their neighbours are going to...
I think
all their neighbours are going to primarily turn around and simply, they've lost any allegiance with their neighbours in the Middle East. I think Iran is going to become incredibly isolated, as we've seen strikes, albeit against US-related and allied-related targets. Those strikes into Saudi Arabia, into the UAE, into Bahrain, into Oman, all over the place, they've lost their friends in the region.
Yeah.
And there will be sanctions inevitably also imposed by them and an escalation in that, which is going to create problems.
Good point to leave it on. Will Geddes, Simon Jackman, thank you so much for joining us this Sunday
That's
evening.
a good point, actually. Yeah, they've just isolated themselves, haven't they, Iran? By targeting their neighbours. They're now on their own for sure. I feel sorry for the US jets that were shot down due to friendly fire. All 6 flyers are okay, though. All 6 flyers.
Pleasure.
Our foreign editor Hugh Whitfield joins me at the desk now. Hugh, we saw Trump speaking. The Ayatollah used to say death to America. In the end, it was America.
They can have and they will rebuild their Navy and Air Force. It sounds like this is going to be ongoing, though, Woz. I don't think... I mean, building when you're at war, is that what you're saying? Like, because Trump's not going to let up here.
Him, but this is almost 50 years of aggression between the two countries.
Yeah, it's difficult to overstate the level of enmity between the United States and Iran. It's almost difficult to remember that prior to the 1979 revolution, Iran was a strong ally of the West in the Middle East. The monarchical Shah ruling over Iran with the support of Western nations, including the UK and the US, that all fell apart in 1979 when the revolution put the hard line Islamist clerics in charge, and that really set up the falling apart of that relationship. The hostage crisis in 1979, where 66 Americans were held in the embassy, it really exposed, I guess, some weaknesses in the US. Jimmy Carter was neutered effectively as president. He wasn't able to get those American hostages out for hundreds of days. And it set up the next 4 decades, I guess, where the US is seen as the liberal democracy where freedom can reign, and that is everything that the Ayatollahs in Iran have hated. The idea of liberal democracy where people, including women, get to have a say in how they carry out their lives. Because keep in mind, these supreme leaders in Iran, the 2 Ayatollahs that we've seen over the last 40-odd years, they don't just rule politically, they rule religiously as well. They are in control of every single part of your life if you are an Iranian citizen. Control over politics and control over religion, and that's pretty much all you need.
Hell no. Imagine having that. That's lame.
That said then, we will be expecting Donald Trump to strike more because he's going to guarantee there's a revolution here and more clerics don't take over.
Donald Trump is emboldened as well, Michael. He could have done this in the middle of last year when those attacks were carried out during what he called the 12-day war. He didn't go through with it. Now he has, and he's achieved his aim.
All right. Comprehensive as always. Hugh Whitfield, thank you.
Control freaks are scum.
Let's quickly check back with our chief reporter, Chris Reason, standing by in Tel Aviv. Chris, we've already seen reports of more Iran airstrikes in just the last hour or so as well. Where you are in Israel, they're bracing for long days ahead.
Oh, Michael, they're always braced for those types of days here. It's a well-practiced machinery. They know that these attacks can come at any time, either from Hamas in Gaza, Hezbollah up in Lebanon, the Houthis down in Yemen, and now, of course, the Iranians as well. It's a mechanism that's so well prepared here. Every single new building has shelters to run to whenever anything happens.
Yeah,
so
Dale.
That is the Israeli existence.
We're not done yet either. There's updates. This is going back to the start, right? We want to get up to speed with today. This is historic. It is, dude, for sure.
It's the interesting thing is the other countries that Iran has hit in the last 24 hours, Qatar, UAE, Bahrain. They're not used to this, and they are totally in shock over everything that's happened. Still, it won't deter the Americans and Israelis. They're continuing on their bombing. A quick final thought. We brought you those pictures at the beginning of the show, the nose cam video of the IDF jets zeroing in on Tehran offices and infrastructure of the Republican Guard. A thought. Have they just taken out the next round of regime, the possible new officers that might be ready, have been preparing to step up into their new roles? Have they just taken out the potential next Ayatollah? Have all of the candidates suddenly reduced again as Israel and America continue this relentless campaign to wipe out this Islamic Republic regime?
I think you're pretty right. On the money there. Chris Reason there in Tel Aviv. Thank you again. And that's all from this 7 News special, Inside Operation Epic Fury. But we'll
move on. So again, that's from a day ago. Now here is a more updated response from Iran. This is from 20 hours ago. Get this, the US reverse-engineered Iranian drones, no pilot, used them in the first strike. So without a pilot, interesting.
Good evening. More countries are being drawn into the Middle East war as Iran declares it will not negotiate, despite Donald Trump vowing to destroy the regime. Explosions have rocked a British base on Cyprus, and there are evacuations in Lebanon, with Israel bombing Beirut after Hezbollah joined the bloodshed.
Iran is not letting up, firing more missiles and drones, hitting airports and an oil tanker, and triggering much more travel chaos.
Hitting an oil tanker? Did that explode? A tanker full of oil? Shit.
Australians remain stranded in the region. For many, their holiday plans are now in disarray. Our chief reporter, Chris Reason, is live in Tel Aviv and begins our comprehensive coverage.
Determined to avenge the death of its leader, Iran fires back. In Beit Shemesh, Israel, a school, synagogue, homes and a bomb shelter flattened. It's where dozens sought shelter but became a target.
We had children inside this building, young children.
9 killed, 27 injured.
Whoa.
Iran's fierce retaliation kept coming.
Damn.
Waves of missiles targeting Jerusalem. Israel is Iran's main target, but it's firing beyond in a fierce counterattack, striking a US airbase in Kuwait, killing 3 American soldiers, another in northern Iraq. In the UAE...
We've just been hit by a drone. It stinks of oil in here. I didn't even finish my cup of tea.
3 more civilian deaths.
Sorry. What did that dude say? He's English, right? I didn't even finish my cup of tea.
UAE...
We've just been hit by a drone. It stinks of oil in here. I didn't even finish my cup of tea.
3 more.
Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing at that. You've just been hit by a drone and there's oil leaking into your building and you're worried about your cup of tea? Oh my God, that's so
American soldiers, another in northern Iraq. In the UAE...
We've just been hit by a drone. It stinks of oil in here. I didn't even finish my cup of tea.
3 more civilian deaths. Oman also targeted.
This
its
is the
commercial port and an oil tanker off its coast hit. Last week, the Omanis had been brokering a peace deal for Iran.
Dude, that's going to spill oil all over that. Oh, that's horrible, man. That's going to be an oil spill. It's going to kill heaps of sea life, hey? Iran is trying to shut down the Persian Gulf. Well, that's what they were saying, right? That little strait of Murdoa. 20% of the oil supply comes through there. The Hormuz, that's it. The Strait of Hormuz.
Iran.
Defending ourselves, and we have every right, every legitimate right to defend ourselves. What the United States is doing is an act of aggression.
On state TV showing off
Wait.
arsenal.
So that's the Iranian dude talking back now? So if I understand correctly, Trump gave them plenty of warning and plenty of time to surrender, and they chose not to. So Trump gave plenty of opportunity for them to lay down, and they would be given immunity. He said that multiple times, and they decided not to. So yeah, okay. So
every legitimate right to defend ourselves. What the United States is doing is an act of aggression.
Yep.
On state TV showing off their arsenal of drones and rocket launchers, an underground tunnel adorned by flags and images of the late Supreme Leader. This Iranian missile fired into Tel Aviv.
Whoa.
Tore through an apartment block, blowing it to pieces with families inside.
Damn.
Hello? One woman was killed here, but dozens survived.
Tel Aviv, I got a friend who lives there. So you're talking, by the way, the guy that lives there from the Daydreamers, right? You guys know the Daydreamers, right? Sailing, I'm not sailing. The dude from that band lives in Tel Aviv these days, or he has done for many years. But so Iran is just shooting, they're just proving a point. They're like, we got bombs, we're going to use them. Here they are, we show you them. And they have got pictures of their dead leader, and then they're like, and we're just going to target random civilian buildings. I mean, they're going to be hated by the whole planet at some point very, very soon, right? So this is the dude who they toppled him in day one, or in the first 8 hours, he was gone. And they're like, well, hold on, we've still got a lot of weapons and pictures of our guy. He's dead. Think Star Trek. The Federation wants peace, but the violent enemies don't want it. So combat. Yeah. I'm watching Star Trek: The Next Generation season. I just finished season 3 actually. Season 4 is next.
This Iranian missile fired into Tel Aviv.
Whoa.
Tore through an apartment block, blowing it to pieces with families inside.
Damn.
Hello? One woman was killed here, but dozens survived.
But we're kind of happy for this shit in Iran that happened.
You're happy, even though this is the result.
This is the result. This is the price that we need to pay, but of the future seems to be much more scary, you know?
The key question now, as the death toll and the devastation mount, is how much longer can this conflict continue? Whether it's days, weeks or longer, it might not be an issue of political support, but munitions supplies.
Both sides only have a finite number of missiles, likely only...
Both sides? America has got a lot more though, right? Good on you being a sci-fi nerd. Thank you. Yeah, Picard is awesome. Next Gen is really good. I'll tell you this. I am quite enjoying it. I think the Next Generation it's the first Star Trek that I've actually enjoyed watching. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Enough for 4 weeks of war. It follows this, one of America and Israel's first strikes of the conflict, bombing Iran's military headquarters, a move that has ignited deep divisions within that country.
Oh, so that's the Iranians supporting the US strike, which killed the Ayatollah. Right. Stay away from the new Star Trek. It's woeful. I'll be getting there in 4 or 5 years, by the time I get up to date.
Many are celebrating Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's death, hoping it triggers a regime collapse. But others mourn the loss of their supreme leader. Thousands defiantly protest the attacks, chanting, "Death to America." In Iraq, Iranian sympathisers stormed Baghdad's green zone.
Look at that. Finally, you guys all agreeing with Was on something. Jude agrees, Dale agrees. Don't touch the new Star Trek. Okay.
To be met by police. In Pakistan, rioters attacked the US consulate, breaching the outer wall. Security guards opening fire, 22 people were killed. Iran's remaining leaders meeting overnight to elect not one leader but 3 temporary ones. The president, chief justice and a senior cleric sharing power until an assembly of experts meets to elect a new supreme leader, similar to a papal conclave at the Vatican. The new chosen Ayatollah must be a man and must be a cleric. And in that power vacuum, Iran concedes it no longer has complete control of its military.
Our military units are now, in fact, independent and somehow isolated.
That power struggle as America and Israel continue to unload. Tehran's skyline filled with smoke. Iranian fighter jets targeted before they even get off the ground. The US says it struck 9...
That's pretty insane, targeting planes before they've launched. Good tactic, though.
Iranian Navy ships and killed 48 senior Iranian officials.
The entire military command is gone as well, and many of them want to surrender into saving their lives. They want immunity.
Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu not afraid, standing exposed on a rooftop in Tel Aviv.
Wait, 11 ships have been sunk. That's huge, man. Wow, epic.
This combination of forces enables us to do what I've long hoped to do for 40 years, he says, to strike the terror regime decisively. 2 days in, there's no sign of Iranian collapse in a region rendered unpredictable, volatile.
Yeah,
divided.
Dale. That's not. Calm down. Why do they wear diapers on their heads? Shit for brains. That's a low blow, man. Everyone has different clothing items. Come on. Hell, we wear stubbies over here. Short shorts. So come on, man.
The Middle East is waking to a wave of fresh strikes like
Geopolitical.
Chris Reason in Tel Aviv. Chris, Lebanon's capital has now been hit.
This is a serious escalation, guys, as this war spills over into yet another country. Pre-dawn hours, Hezbollah, the terrorist organisation based in southern Lebanon, decided to launch attacks into northern Israel and put out a statement shortly afterwards saying it was a revenge attack for the assassination of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. The IDF, the Israeli Defence Forces, were quick to respond. They scrambled jets up and started pounding targets in southern Lebanon all the way up to the capital, Beirut. They did issue a warning to residents beforehand. That sparked a stampede. You can see the pictures there. Cars by the thousand, people on foot as well, trying to get into the safety of northern Lebanon. The president of Lebanon pleading for both sides to back down, condemning the attacks from both sides. We wait to see what will happen there, but not great news. We're also getting some extraordinary vision in, guys. It's been...
So Hezbollah jumps in and starts firing off because they're close by, right, from Lebanon. And so now it's a retaliation back there. So there's going to be more, there's going to be lots of civilian deaths, right? For sure. I wonder how long this goes for. Yeah. 1 month approximately, Dale said, educated guess. Yeah, Jude, that's what we call them, stubbies, those short shorts. That's actually, that was the brand name as well. For sure.
Going viral online. We're getting it confirmed, but CNN said it at least is geolocated. But a plane, an F-15 Strike Eagle American that's been hit, and you can see it there spiralling down in a tailspin before it hits the ground. The pilot and his co-pilot, his weapons analyst, have survived,
ejected,
uninjured. They've been videoed getting into a vehicle. It appears as though this plane has been shot down by an American Patriot missile system. Americans shooting down Americans. Obviously, friendly fire, a mistake. No word yet from CENTCOM, the organisation that looks after the military in the region for the US. Iran is claiming that it did it. That's been dismissed as a fabrication. We're waiting for more details and official confirmation on that, guys.
So that's a mistake? Someone shot them by mistake? Americans shot Americans by mistake? That seems to be a pretty big mistake. Damn.
With the very latest,
there's been 3 of them. Is that what you said? Is that what you said before, Dale? There's been 3 of them that are down, all friendly fire. Far out. That's hectic.
Thank you. Now let's go to Rob Scott in Washington, DC. Rob, the world's been warned this conflict will last not days, but weeks.
That's right, Mark. Donald Trump says it'll probably take at least another 4 weeks to achieve all of the mission objectives. So it looks as though we're in for another month ahead of bloodshed. Donald Trump also confirming tonight the first US casualties in this war. 3 US service personnel killed, another 5 wounded. Donald Trump says they died as patriots, but he's warning that there are likely to be more US deaths in the weeks ahead. Also tonight, we're learning that the Iranian regime is pushing back against claims from the US president that they have reached out to him wanting to talk. They say they are not willing to negotiate. They've tried diplomacy before and it hasn't worked.
Interesting.
Touchdown in Washington, D.C.
So they're claiming that they did talk once before and Trump didn't agree or something? It's the friendly fire transponder units. They turned them off so the jets were seen as a target. Wow. Hectic.
Donald Trump looking every bit the commander-in-chief as he boarded Marine One for the sweep to the White House. For a waiting press pack and a waiting world, the questions are many.
What is your goal, Mr. President?
But from Trump, there was nothing. He walked and he waved. Earlier, from Florida, a recorded speech.
Combat operations continue at this time in full force, and they will continue until all of our objectives are achieved. Nobody's seen anything like it. An Iranian regime armed with long-range missiles and nuclear weapons would be a dire threat to every American. Not going to let it happen.
But America is already paying a price.
Breaking tonight, U.S. troops killed in the Middle East.
At a military base in Kuwait.
3 U.S. military service members have been killed in action, and sadly, there will likely be more.
And for the president, that is a problem.
Big part of the MAGA base did not want another war in the Middle East. This is a betrayal of a decent chunk of the MAGA base.
And this is a problem too. In Austin, Texas overnight,
somebody advising there's an active shooter.
2 dead, 14 injured after a gunman went wild in a downtown bar.
Wait.
The 53-year-old was reportedly wearing a shirt coloured in the Iranian flag. The message on his sweater, property of Allah.
Is that a response? Is that a terrorist response?
Indicators that indicate potential nexus to terrorism.
Americans have learnt these lessons before as Democrats push for a vote this week to throttle the president's wartime powers.
I think the president has started a war of choice. There was no imminent threat to the United States.
But from Republicans, the president is annihilating evil.
The mothership of terrorism is sinking. The captain is dead.
For now, Donald Trump appears more focused on the bombing than on talking, suggesting that this conflict could go on for 4 weeks, and again saying it'll last as long as is necessary to secure America's safety. To the Iranian regime,
I mean, I feel like 4 weeks is pushing it. Like, I feel like it'll go a lot longer than that. if they're saying 4 weeks, then the retaliations will come, and then you saw Hezbollah from Lebanon getting involved. That'll be people on the streets fighting. You know, I feel like it's going to get worse, and it's not going to be over in 4 weeks.
This. Lay down your arms and receive full immunity or face certain death. Won't be pretty.
Yep, he did say that at the beginning.
People, this. I made a promise to you, and I fulfilled that promise. The rest will be up to you.
In Washington, D.C., Rob Scott.
The timeline is ahead of schedule. But I think I thought what was interesting about that report was that they said that the Iranians did not wish to negotiate, did not wish to speak. So that seems to me like it could go on and on if they're not going to talk, if they don't want to sit down and talk. I'd say 6 months at least, probably drag out. Yeah. Let's take a look at some on the grounds reporting from people in Dubai, because that was kind of like where I wanted to lead into with this. This is from yesterday. Play that. Play.
Yeah, I think the word would be a shock. I think we're all in shock. I've lived here for 19 years. I've called Dubai the UAE home after leaving Sydney. Never experienced anything like this in my life, especially obviously here. So I think we're in a bit of shock.
Would you guys say that them? I don't want to say it so poorly, but would you say it seems like just looking at where Iran is, and then the Persian Gulf, and then Dubai, and Qatar, and Abu Dhabi, they're all kind of right there. Like if there was ever to be a retaliation, isn't it like, and I know it's happened, so it's easy to see with hindsight, but isn't it fair to say that they're the closest, that you should have seen this coming, like, or at least something coming? Personally, I don't care how long it takes. The goal's worth the fight, regardless of time. True. We've been trying to negotiate with them for weeks, 47 years. That's a lot of weekses. Yeah. I don't know, like it just seems like, you know, and this is just a civilian dude, but I'm just saying from a military point of view, wouldn't the UAE have been on a high alert because of, you know, America? Hang on, you just think about it. America's bombing Tehran and multiple other parts of Iran. They're bombing it. Who do we closely associate with? America. Where are we? The very next piece of land from there to here? Okay, we should be on high alert, right? Trump did campaign to stop endless wars, yet we're here again. Okay.
No, I want to be honest with you. I've got a couple of kids as well. So as a father, you want to make sure that you're protecting your children as well. I've got a responsibility here in the UAE with what I do out this way through the radio and media and everything else that I do. So, yeah, I think just right now we're all messaging each other. So for many of us, we've never been in this position, obviously, in our lives ever before.
Hey, by the way, just going to pause for a quick say of a hello to Nusrat Queen over on arena.social. I'm streaming on a couple of different new platforms, and I did see MD Abid Hassan come in. I didn't say hello because I don't see the chat on my big screen chat, but I do see you up there, Nusrat. Hello on arena.social. Cops don't want to deal with violent criminals, yet criminals must be dealt with. Jude said, I cannot believe the UAE didn't tell people to be prepared when the US told people to leave the area. Yeah, and they must. I mean, we don't know. They would have surely, though. It's not the cops' fault. I mean, yeah, they would have seen this coming.
It's interesting. I'm of Lebanese descent, so I get a lot of my Lebanese friends that live around here saying this is pretty much what we've lived many of our years throughout. So, you know, let it roll. We'll get through it and we'll be okay. The government are doing an amazing job out here, obviously communicating. We were all sleeping a moment ago, and then you can hear it. You can actually hear the missiles coming through. From what we've understood, which the communication that they've given us is that most of them have been intercepted, which is the sounds that we're hearing. We've all been asked to stay inside. The alerts have come through.
Just thinking about that, what he just said, the weapons, the missiles are firing into like the UAE, into Dubai, and they hear them getting intercepted. So they're launching other missiles into the sky and taking out incoming missiles. So isn't there shrapnel from that? Like doesn't shit just fall down, like gravity and all? Aren't they still getting rained on with like fragments of bombs and like drones and stuff. Like, that's horrifying.
On our phones, just indicating exactly to stay inside. You know, don't leave if you don't have to leave. Stay away from open windows, if possible. So I've got my kids. We're all in one room together right now, actually, on the bottom floor of the house. But yeah, you're hearing it. It's a sound I've never heard before in my life. Growing up in Australia and then living here, I've never been part of anything like this. And I'll tell you, it is a. Again, I like to think that I can handle many situations. I'm handling this one, but it is a different type of situation that you've got to handle.
We just spoke in the last few moments. The airport's been bombed, and it's T3, which you would know obviously is quite a busy part of the airport. We know Qantas flies from there, many other large airlines. How did you react?
Again, like when it early started, you know, obviously we knew that they were going to go for the military bases from what we were told and what we've kind of experienced in the past with surrounding countries. So, you know, that was a bit of a surprise from what I've understood. Who I've spoken to, it wasn't a large hit, which is a good thing. Listen, we're all just here.
But what's coming next is what I'm worried about. If they've done that in the early days of the campaign, what's coming next? Was some of the missiles split up so the Iron Dome defense system can't get them all? Yeah, of course, yeah.
If you've never come to the UAE, we're a tight-knit community. We're only a small country, but we make a loud noise around the world in our achievements. And, you know, this is actually going to bring us together. I believe.
The Iron Dome is in Israel, so they don't have one. Oh, that's right. They said they don't have one here. Yeah. Not the UAE. Yeah, they did say that. But they obviously have ground-to-air intercept missiles. That's what this guy said, that they were being shot down.
All on WhatsApp. I'm getting not only.
I mean, it's probably just the same thing with a different name, right?
Australia. I'm getting it within our own country as well. Just everyone checking up on each other. Do you need anything?
Yeah, in general.
The Australian Embassy's done a good job communicating it to all the Aussies as well, which I've helped push out. So, you know, we don't know where this is going to go. Could this be a 24-hour thing, a 48-hour thing? Could it be a week? Could it be longer? We're not sure. But right now, it's, you know, the beginning part of it, and we'll play it by ear and just see. But right now, we're okay. We're okay. We're shocked. I'd like to say that our nerves are a little bit higher. But for many parents like myself, it's the first time I've ever had a conversation with my children. I've got a 16-year-old daughter. I've got a 14-year-old daughter downstairs. And yeah, I'm having to have that conversation, which is I never thought I would have to have in my life, and no one should.
All right, absolutely. And I don't want to take too much of your time, but just quickly, how's your family in Sydney been and your friends?
Yeah, they're obviously all concerned. I think they're in shock as well. I've got my whole family that lives in Australia. They're all messaging me. We're on a group chat. I'm giving them updates.
Is this guy a YouTuber or something? He seems pretty well spoken.
Telling them everything that they need to know. But, you know, listen, we're going to play it by ear. We're okay. We're going to be okay. We're all monitoring it very, very closely. I do totally trust our government. I do totally trust our military out this way as well. It is unfortunate that it's come down to this. This is never an answer. This is never the way anything should be solved. I'm frustrated in that as a parent and as a resident of this beautiful country, but we'll go through what we've got to go through together and hopefully come out of it okay.
What a different response to the guy that they had in Tel Aviv saying this is what we need to do to get our safety from Iran. Here is another video from Dubai before and after. This will be interesting, from 14 hours ago. Charles, parts of the rockets falling would probably be less devastating than... Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yep, good point.
We've now heard from the UAE government that hundreds of missiles and drones have been fired at the UAE from Iran in the last 24 hours. Their air defense systems are doing a great job. They are successfully intercepting them. There have been explosions and damage due to falling debris, some suspected drone hits.
Right, let's continue our coverage of the situation regarding missile strikes across the Middle East. This morning we are reporting that there have been hundreds actually of missile strikes in the UAE, the United Arab Emirates airspace. Let's go live to Dubai and speak to Sally Lockwood. Good morning, Sally.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. Just bring us up to date with what is happening where you are and indeed across the region.
Well, it's been an absolutely surreal 24 hours. It was around 10 o'clock yesterday morning that we got word that America had begun to strike Iran, and then everything unfolded extremely quickly after that. Air travel was suspended around 1 o'clock, so 3 hours later, and that was after the first wave of missiles was fired into the UAE airspace.
So wait, so Iran immediately responded by attacking anything US based in their neighboring countries, like within the next 2 to 3 hours by the sound of it. They didn't waste any time, did they?
Now heard from the UAE government that hundreds of missiles and drones have been fired at the UAE from Iran in the last 24 hours. Their air defense systems are doing a great job. They are successfully intercepting them. There have been explosions and damage due to falling debris, some suspected drone hits.
Iran have struck 9 countries so far. Okay.
But what I would say is even just the sound of those loud bangs in the sky by air defense systems are making people here extremely on edge, really worried. This is not something that you are used to hearing and experiencing when you live in the UAE. A lot of people are drawn here by the sunshine and the sense of safety, but that sense of safety was absolutely shattered yesterday, and it has been a wild night. So around midnight, we received these emergency alerts on our phone. And if you've ever been in that situation where you receive emergency alerts, you know just how loud that alarm is on your phone. It's quite scary. And it was sounding all over the house from various handsets. And that went off 3 times in the space of 10 minutes. And it was followed by 2 waves of very loud bangs overhead. Certainly my house shook by some of the bangs.
Gosh.
And then news began.
It's funny, just as a side tangent, and this might come across insensitive given what she's talking about, but it's notable, and this probably is the discussion for another time, but it's notable in times like this woman is claiming how frightening it was and how the government responded by sending out warning messages to your phone. You don't hear anyone complaining about, the phone's tracking me. How does the phone know where I am? All that conversation around COVID and 5G and all that. And it's like, but when there's bombs coming in from another country, we want to get a warning on our phone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just noting that the phone and the concept of being permanently tracked and like Google sending ads to me after I've searched up something on Instagram and suddenly it comes up on my Brave browser, this kind of thing. You can't do that. But now, when we need it, no, I love the fact that they know exactly where I am and all my handsets lit up with a warning. It's like, isn't that bad though?
Peace and love, peace and love.
With peace and love, isn't it bad that they're tracking us? I thought that was the argument, the chemtrails and all that shit, that they're tracking us. But then when there's war or potential for war, no, I'm really thankful the government sent warnings because we ended up getting out of the open spaces and went underground and we saved ourselves. So that at that point, thumbs up for the phone. Any other time though, thumbs down for the phone. You see what I'm saying? Okay, I'll be quiet.
To emerge, I would say around half an hour later, videos began circulating of essentially a hit on Dubai airport. Large bits of shrapnel and debris lying on an
Yeah, it was the same story. People who hate police yet call them when they need them. Yeah, same. That's a good analogy for sure.
Concourse. This is the busiest airport in the world in normal times, but right now it's closed and it's been hit by an Iranian attack.
Dude, closing Dubai airport is astronomical, the amount of people that are losing income and livelihood. That place, it literally is like a city. Strange.
Employees were killed in that attack.
How many were killed?
An Iranian attack, and 4 employees were killed in that attack.
So fortunate,
and
only
then
4.
shortly afterwards, Abu Dhabi airport was also hit.
Yeah.
And someone was killed. And that is the second person that was killed in Abu Dhabi in the last 24 hours in these strikes. Yeah. And I'm not sure if you can make out, for those of you who are watching your show rather than listening, I'm actually standing in front of in my backdrop is Jebel Ali Port, which is a naval port here in Dubai. I'm going to see
It's
if I
not
can zoom
fortunate
in
if
for
you're
you.
one of the four. No. It's not fortunate. Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it doesn't seem like a great deal at this stage.
And there's a large plume of smoke rising over the skyline there. Now, there's been a really big buildup of American naval assets in recent weeks there at that port. And that was hit just before 2 o'clock this morning. Quite a large explosion that one of my friends here witnessed. And that plume of smoke is still bellowing into the sky hours later. That is what people are looking at now from their beachfront villas and apartments in the UAE. It feels like a very different place today.
Yeah, for sure.
Charles, I live in Tornado Alley and I'm glad to get the report of a tornado. Yeah, there you go. I can't imagine the cost of return flights. Imagine being stuck in Dubai right now. That'd be horrible. If Iran got nukes, they would use them. Millions would die. Yeah. Well, there's no hope of that anymore, right?
Sure. Just as we're talking, Sally, just to bring this update that Emirates has temporarily suspended all operations to and from Dubai up until 3 o'clock UAE time on Monday. Now, so an update to the travel disruption there. And just on a separate line, just as we're talking, at least 6 people have been killed.
Why do they keep cutting to this woman? She's not saying or doing anything. They keep cutting to her. She's like, I'm not even online. I'm not even on air right now. Stop cutting to me.
As protesters storm the US consulate in Pakistan. There are photos from the Associated Press showing that hundreds of Shiite Muslim protesters have stormed the US consulate in Karachi, witnesses telling the Reuters news agency that the protests followed the airstrikes on Iran that killed the Ayatollah there. There have been skirmishes, I think, between police officers and paramilitary forces using batons. Tear gas has been fired to try to disperse the crowd, but 6 people killed in protests as the US consulate in Pakistan is stormed. It speaks to how the whole region is being engulfed in the turmoil following these strikes, I think, Sally, and the unpredictable nature of where things will actually go from here, particularly where you are in the UAE, often considered such a safe place for
MJ the King. How you doing, MJ? Hope your night is going good. Thank you so much. It is.
And that really has been turned on its head, such is the nature of what we are seeing unfold in the last 24 hours or so.
Yeah, that's right. I mean...
Look at it, cut to her. Why do they cut to that woman again? Dalesky, Pakistan hid Osama bin Laden. Obama okayed taking him out once found. We never know the truth, like the 2003 war, no weapons of mass destruction were found. Yeah, that's true. That was the whole reason for that too. Weapons of mass destruction, and they weren't there. That's a good point. That is a good counterpoint to the discussion that was going on quite a while back up in the chat. Yeah, I'd say that's a good point. You should have brought that up earlier, man. You needed that in your arsenal.
The regime did warn us that an attack on Iran would result in regional conflict. They said that American military assets in the region would be legitimate targets. The Ayatollah, who is now reportedly killed, said that they have the capability to sink US warships. And we're now beginning to see that they are staying true to their word with some of that in terms of the retaliation.
So they're saying that they can shoot missiles at US warships that are like in the area or just in general? Jude answered with no proof the weapons weren't moved. Moved where, though? Interesting.
The UAE came out very publicly in a statement a few weeks ago and said that no strikes on Iran would take place from their territory, airspace or waters. And that was a preemptive
Wait.
measure.
Who said that? The UAE?
Iran would take place.
Who said that?
Statement.
What did they say?
In terms of the retaliation. The UAE came out very publicly in a statement a few weeks ago and said that no strikes on Iran would take place from their territory, airspace or waters.
Interesting. So the UAE said that they're not going to be involved, even though they have military bases that are funded by the Americans. Was answered back with a pretty good one. Also, no proof that they ever existed. This is true. Good answer. You can't disprove a null set. A null set. I don't really understand that. They said that there were weapons of mass destruction. They went in. There was none. Jude said, well, what if they move them? Woz says, how do you prove that they ever existed? Yeah. I am Satoshi, but I can't move any of that Bitcoin from that wallet. That's the kind of same argument. Dale says Oz is correct and so is Jude. You cannot prove or disprove. I know you can't, but a lot of people died to get nothing, right? A lot of people died in that situation to come out with ultimately nothing.
And that was a preemptive measure to ensure that the UAE wouldn't be a target, that we would be hopefully quite far down Iran's
That's called
priority list.
okay, so proving or disproving when you can't do that, it's called a null set. Okay, I've never heard that phrase before.
Where they were going to strike. And it's come as a real shock to so many people here that they haven't just targeted the UAE, but they're hitting civilian infrastructure.
This is not Iraq. There will be no ground invasion. But I was thinking that the ground invasion will come from like Hezbollah and they are targeting Israel. Won't that be where they get people on foot doing their thing? Isn't that how that all sort of normally plays out with like those Houthis and those guys? Because they don't have all the, well, they got stuff, but they don't have the full arsenal, let's just say. They came in from Jordan, didn't they? And they were bombing from Jordan. I think that's where it's going to become, like, for want of a better term, hand to hand. We're going to just bomb them. Well, most of it will be from the air, of course, but by the way, look at that pause I've paused on. There's a conspiracy theorists would go frame by frame on this pause and say, see that line of light coming down from her head? That's a chemtrail reaching Earth during a time of crisis. They're trying to make a shield. You can see how it's going directly through her right eyeball. The right side of the face is where most of the brain power for capacity for war comes from. And so they're targeting this woman. She's live to air on UK television. They're trying to send a message, and they'd be sneaking in like frame enhancements and all that crap. She's obviously a lizard woman. You know, that you see all that shit, and like I watch it. I sometimes go down that rabbit hole and I watch those conspiracy theories, lizard people, and Justin Bieber's eyes flickering, and it's like, dude, they aren't that dumb, right? Like it's artifacting, it's compression, it's different compression techniques on storage of video, right? Like it's so strange that people think it's real. Like, anyway. Yeah, but there's one right there, a comtrail coming down right into her eyeball, dude. Amazing. Go frame by frame.
Yeah, they're terrorizing civilians. This is not limited to
Who do they think they're fooling, man? Like, I mean, wake up, sheeple, wake up. Everyone, how you doing, man? How you doing, everyone? You think that's a chemtrail?
Military assets and military air bases. And I should say, of course, it's not just the UAE. Qatar, Bahrain, Saudi were hit badly in the last 24 hours. And we're now receiving reports that Oman may have also been struck this morning. And that's very interesting.
Contrails are often mistaken for chemtrails. Condensation trails. Yeah. Was a pointless war, and I believe Trump said a vote for Harris would result in sending young men to a third world war. So if you had voted for Kamala Harris, not Trump, you would have been sending off to a world war, and now you're saying that that's what's happening. I was saying that this looks like it could be World War III, but Dale was super, and Jude, at the very beginning of this stream, they were super clear to say that this is not World War III, right? So this is not popping off as the beginning of World War III?
Because people in the last 24 hours, certainly overnight, were fleeing Dubai and heading for the Oman border by car because they deemed it to be a safer place because, of course, Oman has been the chief mediator in these diplomatic efforts between Iran and the US.
It's not World War III. So what would it take? What would need to be the next thing that happens for this to get to that point where it's considered World War III? So at this stage, we've got the US attacking a Middle Eastern country. We've got the response from them back. They haven't quite gone back to They haven't fired back on America per se, but they've attacked all American military bases or anything affiliated with America, including airports and hotels in any of the surrounding countries and territories. And then you've got, I guess, the UK hasn't responded in any kind of capacity except to say that they agree that this needed to go. You've got Australia saying the same kind of thing. You've got France kind of declined to say really anything. Germany, obviously, and Poland are in favour. So what has to happen for it to be considered World War III? Probably more countries involved. Which countries? Russia fighting in Ukraine isn't the start. This won't be either. That's a good point. If Russia fighting Ukraine isn't the start, this won't. Yeah. World War III would be the US, UK, and all of NATO. Right. Versus Russia and or China. Yeah. So with that in mind, is there any threat of that happening? Like, is there any scenario that would play out where that would actually come into fruition? Like, how would all of NATO be involved? At this stage, you've got Iran responding by attacking American or US-based anythings. So if they just randomly do that anywhere, and assuming those countries or those territories are NATO-backed, don't they have to step in? Doesn't NATO have to step in? And then anybody in the NATO allegiance or alliance, whatever it is, has to respond as well? When we start fucking with China over Taiwan, then it's World War III. That won't happen until 2027, though. Let me consult my non-existent crystal ball. Okay, I'm trying to foresee or what's the word? Not foretell. I guess I'm just trying to put forward scenarios. Yeah, I don't have any crystal ball either.
Hit yesterday, so people fled Dubai.
Back to the lizard woman.
For Oman overnight, and we're
Speculate,
now hearing
that's the word.
potentially Oman has also.
Everyone, I'm serious. Yeah, but you're talking about a separate incident or a separate scenario, China and Taiwan. We're talking about the situation from Iran's point of view right now. We're not talking about China and Taiwan. So, and unless you can somehow tie those two countries together into how they would respond in this scenario, then yeah, we're not really discussing that. You know,
been hit in the last 24 hours. And the official advice today for a second day is to shelter in place. That advice.
This Times UK thing must be on an auto. Their cameras must be auto switching, because why would it cut to him then?
Today for a second day is to shelter in place. That advice from the British Embassy in the last hour for British nationals here. I mean, it's interesting that Emirates say flights are only cancelled until 3 p.m. on Monday. There is a sense, I mean, Emirates are, I would say international carriers cancel their flights the slightest sign of any risk, whereas Emirates will be the last to cancel and they will probably be the first to resume. So certainly they're one to watch.
Yeah. You pick the source.
But I think there is a sense here that we're not quite sure when any sense of normality is going to return.
Sally, thank you so much for your reporting. We will keep in touch. That is Sally Lockwood reporting from Dubai. It's so incongruous, I suppose, is the word. Dubai is such a sort of honey pot for influencers on Instagram, and I hesitate to go here, but it is so bizarre seeing these people.
Everyone says this situation will never turn into World War III. I thought you were asking what has to happen to get World War III to pop off. No, I was asking what would have to happen in this scenario for it to be considered World War III.
Now posting videos of them in their, Dubai brunch hotels by the pool, sunbathing with missiles flying overhead. These people who are there to live what they thought was a, salubrious lifestyle are now in the, one of the focal points of an international conflict.
Well, I was talking to somebody who lives in Dubai, and they were saying this was or maybe a year or so ago, and they were saying how safe they felt and how they wouldn't want to move back to the UK because it's getting more and more dangerous and there's crime on the streets. And in Dubai, they felt very, very sheltered. Obviously, this now is changing those attitudes. All right, so the people seem to be safe in their homes, and we heard earlier, didn't we, from a former Olympian who's got nerves of steel who just took to her basement. But nevertheless, it's something out of the ordinary for them, and it may have to be something that they get used to, because who knows how long this is going to go on.
From a strategic point of view, analysts suggest that places like Dubai are in the crosshairs of Iran because they are places that are deemed to be safe, and that they are places that will have a very limited tolerance for this level of conflict, and therefore will go on to pressure the likes of President Trump and others to reach some sort of peace agreement in the interest of protecting, I suppose, their reputation as well as their people. And so that is why Dubai and these other places are being targeted, in addition to, of course, the strategic approach of attacking US military bases, as Sally was pointing out to us. But she said civilian infrastructure is kind of up for grabs at this point as well. It's about pressuring Trump into negotiating for peace.
Pressuring Trump. So let's just pause here, because that was the last video I had lined up. But I do want to find out, because I didn't get this information, and I guess we can get it more up to date. I'm going to go to old mate ChatGPT, and I want to find out how many deaths thus far has been reported due to this conflict. So that's an interesting question, because I guess the civilian casualties is probably what people want to know about, but I want to find out in general how many reported deaths due to USA-Iran conflict from both sides, from both angles, from both sides. See what this comes up with. Here's what we officially know so far. Confirmed reported deaths on the US side. US military personnel killed 6 service members as of March the 2nd, which is yesterday. Earlier reports had 3, but 2 additional deaths were later confirmed. So these are troops, right? Injured to US troops have also been reported, several seriously wounded. Currently, deaths standing at 6. On the Iranian side, civilian and military deaths. Iranian authorities and humanitarian organizations report have caused hundreds of deaths so far. As of early March 2026, the Red Crescent reports tallies suggesting about 555 people. This includes civilians. Iranian sources said over 100 children have been killed in a strike on a school. Oh, shit. Uh-oh. These figures do not differentiate clearly between military and civilian casualties. Other regional deaths. Conflict spillover is causing additional deaths in other Middle Eastern countries, for example, Israeli and the UAE, Iraq and Kuwait. The primary tally concerning the USA. Okay. US 6. Okay, I want to find out about. Give me the number for the what are they calling them? Regional spillover, for the spillover countries, territories. By the way, it gives Hendrik and I are no longer at war. Ceasefire declared. That's good to know, man. One war stops and another one starts. So Israel between 9 to 40 killed by Iranian missiles. In the UAE, only 3. Oh, that's not as much as I thought it would be. Kuwait's been 1. Iraq 2. Lebanon between 50 and 52. Due to the Hezbollah clashes. See, this is what I think. This is where I think it's going to really pop up. This number will go up higher, I feel like, with these guys. Lebanon clashing into Israel. Pakistan 22. That's quite a lot from protests. Wow, not direct strikes, but tied to regional tension. So approximately 120 in the spillover. Okay, interesting. Was not that great, not exactly an act of peace from Trump. If Iran did have nukes, they would use them, but they don't. Wow, you're saying that Iran has nukes and they're not using them yet, or they don't have them, so that's why they haven't been used. Hezbollah is an Iranian proxy. Yeah, so is Hamas. Yeah. So I feel like we're up to speed with it anyway. Or at least we're up to sort of more current because look, I got so sideswiped with my stuff going on over the weekend that this was happening and I wasn't even paying attention. And so that's why I wanted to do this stream today. I am not working again tomorrow, and I'm actually not working at all this week. So I'll be back tomorrow to stream again, and we'll talk, I don't know, we'll talk about something else. But if there are further updates to this and there are more breaking newses, yeah, that's right, more than one breaking news, we'll obviously talk about it here. But yeah, so at this stage, I think we're pretty much, I think we're all in agreement that this had to happen. I'm not sure of your take. Do you not think that this should have happened? And I don't want to get too deep, but just either yay or nay, like this disarmament of Iran nuclear facilities shouldn't have happened, so that the US shouldn't have done what they did. I felt like the majority of us in the chat were in favor of it, and the majority of the other countries are also in favor of it. But if you're against it, that's fair. You can have your opinion. You can be against it. As you said before in the chat, it's all about good, hearty conversation. So Iran did not want to talk. The talks were still ongoing. 47 years it's been ongoing. They laughed every time Trump suggested something, as far as I know. Okay. I guess I was just looking for a straight up answer. Yes, it should have happened, or no, it shouldn't have. But it doesn't matter. We can just leave it at that. I'll say ta-ta, farewell. Yeah, I guess there's nothing further to add here. You know what I will be looking at carefully? The implications to Australia. And in terms of fuel prices, we have 30 to 60 days worth of surplus. So our fuel prices shouldn't change yet, but of course they will. They'll jack them up. Good stream, Gibbs. Thanks. Thanks, Dale. Thanks, everyone, for being in the chat. Good to see you all. Good to have you all. Get an EV now. That's a good idea, was. I'd love to do that. That won't be happening anytime soon for me, though. Hey, thanks for being here live with me, folks. Enjoy your evenings, doing the thing that you do. And don't forget to farkle in the chat, whatever that means. Farkle. I don't know. Wait for it. Coming up next is Farkle. Farkle in that chat. Jack Fine. I love a good farkle. Never know what a good farkle is. Can I have a bad farkle next time? I'll take a mediocre farkle as well. Farkle it up.
New Zealand's vibe, surfing waves day to night. Always looking for the next thrill, that's where I ignite. Community so solid, always shining bright. Rolling deeper, cruising for the height.